a really nice breakfast. I said these guys sort of set me up by playing my favorite song. It's about winning, about closing deals, about feeling empowered, about knowing what you want out of life. And Patek Philippe is actually a very solid brand. So, Acronis, Tranter IT, MSP, we're all here today because of money, revenue, innovative ways to move our companies forward. This is 2023. They just elected new presidents, governors. It's a new chapter. We're about to be, hopefully, moving into more positive space, more opportunities, and I know we're all ready for some stability. But more important than stability is the speed of innovation. Tranter IT, and this isn't, accolades for Tranter IT, but something that we've always held on to, thanks to our leadership, is that when you wait and you're safe, we're going to end up behind. Today's market is moved. Today's market is owned by speed, not size. The other way say it's not the size that matters. Now it is the speed. This is the speed of how quickly you react to your market, how quickly you take up opportunities, how quickly you're able to utilize your network, how many products. We're all selling products, multiple products. Some of us are in software services, cloud, security, Microsoft, you name it, Acronis, Manage Engine. How many of our solutions can we get into each client? What is the average profitability per client? How much gain can we make per time spent at each client? Time is money, we all know this. It's not something you can say to your client, and we have to give them all the time that they need. For what we need is what's going to work. What is going to work for each and every one of us, even Tranter IT as a distributor, is smart usage of resources. Why reinvent the wheel? Why make your own car and pump your own tire and weld whatever is fixed on the car yourself when there are people that do that for you? Tranter IT brings you here today because of their partnership with Acronis. It's a strong partnership. We're known for support, IT support, ATM support, POS support, all the supports, help desk support, e-banking support. So over the years, we've become support ingrained. Support is in our blood. That's one of my most favorite things to do. There's Tosin over there, the black hat. He's the team lead on our support in our head office. Always smiling. His favorite thing to do is just support. When you have a problem, he goes, really, that's not okay. And I'm like, yes, you motivate me. So that's the thing. We're operating in a challenging environment. And I love challenges. Love them because it means there's something to do, and we probably find out what needs to be done sooner or later, and then we can fix it. That's why I love challenges. We're a solutions company. So solutions company has to like the challenge, right? Every IT company is a solutions company, because without the issues in our end users, we have no purpose. We don't pray for more issues. We pray for the ability to solve them. What's happening now? Cashless society, digital currency, investors looking for fintechs to throw their money into. Do you know any fintechs? I know somebody who wants to invest in fintechs. Like, well, I'm an IT company and do a lot of things. Invest in me. No, we need a fintech. Okay, oh. Then look for a fintech. Oh, I sell technology solutions to financial industries. Does that count? Should do. But what is that telling us market-wise? Everything is going digital. I don't know why it was just about 2 years ago when we had all this malware, ransomware stories in the news, and then all of a sudden, nobody is wearing again. What happened to the attacks? Did the hackers go on the group holiday retreat to some unknown island, taking a break? But now that everything's going digital, new banks, everybody who deals in customer data is opening a digital bank because the likes of Money Point and the Haga and the rest, all these digital banks, not even just on that. That is still right, looking large. There are a lot of upcoming digital banks there. That industry is about to explode. Why? Well, my friend invested in digital bank, invested this much, and look at it now. What am I doing? Let me go and bang. A lot of people in Nigeria has a lot of money. Nigeria has a lot of money. A lot of people trying to put money into investments. So what am I saying? The potential is huge. Companies that don't even exist yet. Watch the space. You're going to see digital banks popping up, digital services popping up. Everybody's going to need an application to run their business. Why? We can't plan our logistics anymore. It's a logistics that plan us. We need convenience. And today we're talking about a solution. This is a workshop, the MSP workshop. We're here to find out what we need to do, ask a bunch of questions, and by all means, anybody who has Acronis on the t-shirt, polo shirt, I give you the authority to blast them AK-47 style with questions, because that's why we're here. Yeah? No messing around. Shoot your questions. Don't feel shy. There's no wrong question. If you're asking a question, think you kind of know the answer, ask it anyway, because you could be asking it for the person next to you without knowing. We're all here to learn. And what we want for everyone in this room is to feel confident, to feel familiar with the team. The relationship exists as such. Your success is my success. Our success is our success. So the more confident you are, the more assured you are, the better we will all feel together when the deals are dropping on the portal, when the monies are coming in, and you're like, yeah, thank God I signed up to Acronis. Thank God I'm an Acronis partner. I see this revenue. It's making sense. And let me tell you one last thing. As a distributor, we're distributors of many products, and Acronis I thought it was done signing up partnerships actually at some point, and then, what was it, last year, April, May, we're like, oh, and they sign up this partnership, and I'm like, wow, oh, I just thought I was going to have a break on like building networks, channel networks. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's find out about this. And then I met Sarah, and Sarah was like, boom. And I'm like, wow, yay. Sarah's amazing. Then I met the team, and I'm like, whoa, yay. Sarah picked a great team. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And we started having our Acronis events. And I saw the ginger, and I saw the motivation. And we got the sign-ups, and we continued to get the sign-ups. And we came up with a strategy that is MSP-centric. And that strategy is, as we aren't playing in the market in Acronis, we're not allowed. Our hands are tied. We're the distributor. What we're doing is harvesting the Acronis leads from our entire database to ensure the success of our partners. So I believe in a little bit of hand-holding. To every new relationship that has expectations of you deserves an induction period. And in an induction period, not only do you learn what to do, but you're meant to be taken through things and given one or two activities to try out to build your confidence while somebody guides you. And I'm a key believer in business process and putting in the right amount of effort. When you're expecting great results, input has to be equally great. It has to be intentional. It has to be the ingredients that would bring about the right flavor at the end. So we've put in that structure internally. Not only do we have tech support, jointly with Acronis and the capacity in-house as Tranter IT, but we have sales support. We also have channel management, channel support. And we have Henry and have Faustina, who's the channel coordinator. Channel coordinator meaning that if you need anything and you're meant to move from point A to point B, meant to coordinate you, get you the right information, and that's what it's meant to do. So you never feel lost or you never feel any form of stagnation at any point in your relationship with Tranter IT and Acronis. The stagnation is not what we do here. It's not what works in Nigeria. I'm stagnant. They have to be moving. They have to be progressing. They have to be taking strides. And those strides are going to be not only with your own clientele, but before maybe you feel confident with your entire sales team that might be focusing on Acronis part of their time, we would definitely give him a lead. We've already done that. We have till the end of this quarter to give everybody who signed up last year their assigned lead. And everybody who signs up before the end of this month, we would literally assign a lead to you. And you won't have to engage that lead until that lead is ready. Meaning that you keep your resources focusing on what you need to do right now until that lead is ready to be harvested. Because you don't have time to waste. We have both infrastructure to make things easier for you. Because we didn't get into the relationship with Acronis to sell Acronis Cyber, the tech cloud, for us to bring to the waiting game and be following up a hip sheet that we're following this. And like, yes, but how? With what? What did they say? That what the person said to you? So we like fast movement. We would like things to be dropping into the accounts, your accounts. What we do more is support companies so that the IT companies in Nigeria, the IT industry in Nigeria, no matter how many people want to get poached by these very intelligent companies internationally that know that Nigerians are just the smartest. So where else would you source your talent from? We allow them, but as many as need our shows, we must have the support systems in place to ensure your companies do not fail. It's important to us. So Tranter IT needs the Nigerian IT industry to be strong. So that is the heartwarming reason behind a lot of our initiatives in the market. Without our peers, there's no viable market. Without our peers being strong and having options and being supported, where are we? How good are we? And cannot impact others around us. And so it's a relationship of serving this and one of lifting up. And we proudly do that. We're becoming good at it, like the Brad Hittel, We like to see, okay, the average revenue has grown from 9 million sales a year. They're now on 36 million a year. Yes, this is good. The next year, they're now on 126 million a year. This is good. I'm just quoting some figures from some tables of some other channels. This is the kind of growth we like to see. It says that we're doing something right and that our partners are able to chew on that benefit and digest it. So you're welcome. The MSP workshop. Can I get a wave? Thank God you guys had breakfast, otherwise it would have been much quieter than that. All right, so welcome. My name is Melanie Ayoola, and I am the Executive Director, Sales Marketing for Tranter IT. Channel is my love, something I discovered in my job. Though outside of direct sales and marketing, I encountered channels, and I absolutely love channel building and channel support. And as do the Acronis team. That's why we get along so well. So welcome. Thank you for coming. We have a full house, so can we give ourselves a round of applause? There are no empty seats. Please feel free. This is your day today. Ask all the questions. Make all the requests you need. Our team would answer as much as we can. If you want to book sessions for your teams to understand anything later on in the week or next week, please do so. We're here for you today. We're dedicated to you today. Today is about Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud and making sure that your revenue streams are saying something good when it comes to Acronis. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Edie. I want to introduce, I want all the Acronis team to be introduced.
So I would want you to stand up if you know you are among our team. So Acronis team, please to stand up. Irene. Okay, that's the Valentine there. So in case you're having demo and you just for you to know the names that you'll be seeing, those people that will be answering the demo and the rest. Hassan, we have Hassan, we have Ebenezer. So you're all welcome. Faustinus is here. Please come up. So going forward, I want to introduce to you my colleague too that will be championing the channel Acronis. So Faustinus by name. So he will be reaching out to you to regards an Acronis solution. So we've actually break down the Acronis vision for 2023, just for us to get understanding of what we intend to achieve this year. So yes, we started the distributors roadmap this year and last year actually. So we are looking at increasing the number of MSP this year. So our objective is for us to get at least minimum of 50 MSP before the end of this year. And we are actually moving on the right track, right? And also, we want to get to the point where our MSP can demo Acronis solution at ease. So the challenge we had recently is that most of our signed MSP could not really demonstrate the solution, right? And they could not code for their client, right? So that was why we brought out this workshop, more like a workshop. We've been having seminars, and so this is more like a workshop. So it will be an interactive section where you'll be able to ask questions, and we can't do it yourself, right? So at this point, you should be able to use the Acronis calculator, try to see how you can manipulate, how to put your markup when you want to send code and the rest of it. So all this will be done here. So the last event we had was for the MSP and also the end users. But right now, we have the MSP here. So we don't want the end user to be informed on how the coaching and everything is done in this session. So you just have to know that how to coach, how to sell Acronis, right? And how to demo Acronis. Too important, very important. So also we have this objective that before the end of this year, we have at least MSP would have generated at least 50% of the Acronis revenue that we are looking at for before the end of this year. At least we get an increase revenue generation of up to about 50%, and also we'll get to the point where Acronis become an household name, right? So that's the reason why we are designed so many events for this year. This is the last event for this program, right? But we have so many events that will be coming up in subsequent quarters, Q2 and Q3, down to Q4. But our objective is that all our Acronis MSP that have signed, you should be able to do everything, right? Because in the case of other OEM that we are also selling their solution, we also come in to assist. But at this point, we actually want the Acronis sign-up partners to be able to do it themselves, right? So this session will be more like an interactive session, like I said earlier. So feel free to ask questions. If you have any thing that you felt you want to relate with the team or with the presenter, please do. And also, we are looking at expanding, right? So we'll be looking at expanding our distribution network to at least other states, right? Now we are in Lagos. We also look at expanding to the northern region. We are looking at expanding to the eastern region of Nigeria. So that's what we're looking at before the end of this year. Hopefully, in our subsequent events, we start having MSPs from other regions. So we actually plan to have an hybrid session, right? Why they join virtually, and we have some guys physically. But we felt let's have it in our next event. So that's all for the our vision and objective for the year. And so I would like to introduce Valentine Olale, right? Olale Valentine, to come and take us through an overview of Acronis, what Acronis is all about. Because I understood that we have new MSP here that really did not know much about Acronis. So Valentine is going to be later as regards that. So Valentine, I would want to request that you take it gradually, right? Because we have new MSP here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
For your questions.
Permit me to invite my team. That is just the name. We have the Acronis technical team from Tranter IT. Azan and Ebenezer will be anchoring this particular session for like 10 to 15 minutes.
Good morning to you all. I believe you are all happy to be here today. Am I right?
I can see everybody.
So, okay, if you are happy, please let's give him closer for Acronis, please. Closer!
I don't think there's energy in that closer.
Okay, thank you.
There's energy.
If I try again. 3 closer for Acronis! Closer! So I'm giving the reason why I actually want us to give Acronis 3 closer. Firstly, Acronis, and they are Acronis is a leader in cyber protection.
That is confirmed.
That's number one. And also, Acronis is the only solution that unites cyber security. Understand?
Data protection.
Also, management of management to protect endpoints, systems, and data. Am I right? Okay. So with that with one agent, understand, it also reduces costs. Imagine the scenario. Let's talk about part management.
Hold on a moment.
Okay.
Seems we are going too far.
Oh,
see people writing a lot, and they can't catch up with what you are saying.
Wow.
Just let's take it one step at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with acronyms. We are hearing about acronyms all day long, and I was wondering, exactly do. Years back, acronyms started as just a backup solution. What they do is just a backup files.
Imagine.
Oh, let me tell you a bad story. Some years ago, I used to feel like a boss. And I will tell you the reason why I feel like a boss then.
How about now?
Let's wait till the end of the day. So back then, I worked with as a computer apprentice. And what we do is we type documents on Microsoft Word, design on CorelDRAW, and when anybody comes with their assistant as bad, we replace the parts and then feel like a boss. So there is one guy, he came with one very nice looking system, and then he said, virus has infected the system. I said, alright, really? So that this one trials antivirus that we install. Once you just install that antivirus, it scans the children protected.
Scam, that's a Sakamaji. Sakamaji.
Please continue.
So, no, with acronyms, which is an all-in-one solution, yes, that has multiple capabilities, just such as backup and recovery, disaster recovery, remote assistance, reporting, and so on. You know, your environment is well secured and so on, and also it reduces costs. Yes, that's where I want to talk about other solutions. Whereby, just imagine a place whereby you need the solutions to patch and to deploy patches. That, let me say, patch management. Just imagine, and also you also need a solution that can protect your environment from malwares and malwares and virus. You know, there's some solution that what they do is only anti-malware.
Let's talk about the vectors of acronyms.
Okay.
And what they do. Now, the first one I'd like to talk about is safety. For every one of us, I know we must have done this before. You have a file that you want to protect and then save it on your system. And in your mind, in your innermost mind, that file is safe, right? Right? We have all done that before. We do that, we still do that, right? And then the only copy that you have is that one that's on your system. And if you are very lucky, like a friend of mine that stays at my 12, where once it rains, if you are at home, you are not going anywhere. And if you are not at home, just stay there. Because the moment you try going home, there's wahala. It's either you swim or you rent a canoe. So this friend of mine having his wonderful system placed on the wardrobe. And when this magnificent rain happened, anyway, you all know the end of the story, right?
No, we don't.
Oh, the moment he opened the door, everything flowed out, including the system that has that file that he was protecting, and that is the end of that file.
Okay, now.
Okay, it's a sad story. Oh, I forgot my handkerchief. I was avoiding my tears. Anyway, so if you actually want safety of your files, not just files, application, or the whole system, trust me, you have a solution that can handle that. And here is the solution. Ebenezer, go on.
So to buttress his point on safety, so Acronis make sure that there is a copy of all your data. So in case if anything happens, so we already have a backup copies whereby you can easily restore the copies. So we also have accessibility whereby you can access your data anywhere. Don't forget, everything is being stored in the cloud. So anywhere you can access your data anywhere, anytime. That one is certain.
We have privacy, and we all cares about our privacy. Majority of us here have password on our phone, and after that password, we still have another level of authentication, which is fingerprint, And after that fingerprint, some people still go ahead and use their facial recognition. You are giving a lot of things. Yes, exactly. Multi-factor authenticator. And if they tell you they are PIN, and then you realize that you are getting too familiar with that, they will change it. Very. So we all have that privacy issue that we want to keep our things, and we want to restrict those that have access to our files, our documents, or even our entire systems. And Acronis mark that, it sticks to that. Your files, your documents, all your resources are kept in a way whereby if you only want to access it, you can access it, and nobody other person, not even Acronis themselves, can actually have access to those files.
Okay, so we also have authenticity. Yes, this one is for people that know that for manipulate, falsify document in what's it called? This CMS, Oluwole, you want to go together.
Stop now. Our guys are not from Oluwole. All you guys do Oluwole.
And we all happy now. If you want to drop that, they want to use this document, just go to Oluwole, CMS. And we don't know document, visa, passport, so I'm not teaching you that. So with this authenticity, wow, Acronis, they can't forge anything. Because it puts use of blockchain and notarization.
Yes.
So they give part all this decided certificate or what's it called that have a seal that the people smart, they think that they are smart enough to manipulate all those seal company logos. With this authenticity, they cannot. At all. They cannot. So the next
one is security.
Of course, we have to be secure.
Let me go back to my story. So when we studies and the virus on the system, it works perfectly. Then after the third day, my guy came back. And he was like, hey, see, this system, I was working on it and it just went off. I said, went off, okay, put it on. My guy came, he removed our address, put it on another address. Nothing was working. And then that was when we realized that not only is the system infected by virus, also by malware. And what we have then is just for virus. In fact, normal antivirus, offline antivirus that it will take like a month before they update the new definition. So we are now talking about 0-day attack. No. So that was happening, and my boss JJly resigned from our job. Because what we used to call ourselves boss on, we could not solve that particular issue. We only resigned to go and learn more, and trust me today, we are way better than where we left. So, in this Acronis, I know for sure that my friend, my colleague, my brother have said a lot about what Acronis can do. But let me just pick it up from where we stopped. I'm just going to do two scenarios. Majority of the IT support or the IT technicians that are here or that we know, they do some specific things that are routine. The first thing is we don't want issues with our systems, right? And then we have to like patch our systems. Funny enough, Microsoft, they are very wicked. Instead of them to be releasing updates every day, they are releasing it weekly. I think that's wickedness, right? That's wickedness, right? Oh wow, people are into us. They are rising. Okay, fine. Instead of that to be happening every day, they do it weekly. And when they do it weekly, most of the time it's a patch Tuesday, whereby they will release an update and then they have a critical update. They know why they are giving that update because they realize that there might be a loopholes in the system and then they need to actually block that. If you do not update that, then you are exposing yourself.
You are exposing your organization. And what set of people you can actually expose at the end user?
Because they really do not know much about it. What they want to do is put their own personality and then move. And if they click on anything that they shouldn't click on, everybody in the organization is not safe. So let's talk about that patch management and probably the remote desktop. You want to help somebody on the 11th floor, like the first floor, and then you want to troubleshoot. If your organization have lift, that's awesome. Elevator, that's perfect. But what if you don't have those two and you have to use the stairs? So you run to the 11th floor to check the issue, and when you realize that the issue is something that you just have to solve quickly, and and then you solve that. You went back downstairs, and somebody on the 8th floor called you again, and then you run up. By the time you do that 10 times a day, your body will tell you. So, in order to actually do those two things, now imagine if you are going to do that conventionally, you have to get two different set of applications to do that, right?
Yes.
But what if I can tell you that Acronis can do that peacefully? With just 2 clicks, you are done. So, let me talk about Acronis, whereby it is just one single agent on the system and it can perform all its function, one policy, one UI/UX, one license, and one vendor. And you are going to do all this without stress. And these are.
So, okay, so we have the protection plan, whereby you can schedule the protections you want on your environment. We have backup, whereby you can back up your machines and either physical or virtual machines, and so on. We have disaster recovery. We can't predict disasters; it can strike up anytime. So with Acronis, your systems, data, and so on, they are well protected, whereby you can easily restore during your disaster. So we also have antivirus and malware protection. Of course, this is a bonus. Yes, it's a bonus, but not all solutions can perform these two abilities.
Don't worry, this one is not fine. The moment you realize that there's a pattern, it uses AI technology.
Of course.
You realize that there's a pattern that looks like a virus or an attack or a malware, it's taking it out.
And let me chip in something. We all agree that cyber attacks, cyber attacks affect a lot of businesses nowadays. We can't argue that, and whereby all those attackers, what they are looking for? Ransom. From my research, I discovered that 53% of the attacks, causes damages that over $500,000. Just imagine, we just feel relaxed and we allow all those hackers, all this malware or virus to just enter our systems. That means in this cash policy, you find that money by all means.
No, they will find it.
Find it.
But our clients are not ready for that. All right, you guys are ready for that? You want to take that risk? Okay, they are not ready. Move on. Next slide, please. Okay, Acronis Cyber Cloud at a glance. No, before we've actually just been talking about private badge, remote stuff and the like. So let's look at what Acronis can actually offer you. Remember when I started this presentation, I told you that Acronis started with basic backup, just backup. And then when we realized that backup alone is not enough, and funny enough, Acronis actually has a lot of data centers, and those data centers are well protected. Trust me, if you have malware in the organization before you actually start using Acronis, that's the end of that malware. Because once you back up your files, before it gets to our classes, it is scanned and rescanned and scanned properly and make sure that even threats that are recognized just yesterday are removed from all those files. And then they can be saved. And once they are saved, we also have many data centers whereby they are replicated. In case one is down, you can actually have high availability for the files anytime, anywhere. We also have a disaster recovery. Now, this disaster recovery, for example, let's take a scenario that, God forbid, an organization was raised by fire. No physical apparatus again, nothing. No hardware, nothing. But then you still need your files. You need access to probably your servers and the likes. You can actually provision one for you from the Acronis side, and then instead of you shutting down for this to recover all what you have, you can actually switch to the online version and you can continue your work. And when you are done, you can always watch failback. You can restore those files to either the physical drives or even the virtual machines, and Acronis can actually do that for you. You have the ransomware protection, you have the malware protection, you We have vulnerability assessment. Some of us, most of us, especially me, I know that there are some applications that I'm running on my devices that are out of date. And I know I'm not the only one on this table. I know. Majority of us, we have applications that are outdated or that need updates that we are reluctantly not updated. So all those things can actually be vulnerabilities for the system. And in order to actually safeguard us from all those issues, that's when we have the vulnerability assessment. It's going to test your systems, your individual systems. There's something we refer to as cyber score, whereby it takes individual systems and then checks on some criteria. And then when you realize that, okay, you are about 650 of 800, 600 of 800, 400 of 800, we can actually judge ourselves that our system is either not protected or very well protected. So we have that, we have the patch management, we have the URL filtering, because this one is very, very essential, even for end users. Because we end users, back in the days, this is a secret. Back in the days, when I was in the universities, all what I looked for online are free things. Until one day, somebody said, "Come and download free RAM." You think I didn't download it? I downloaded it. It's so good. So if you have something that can actually do your true for you, whereby you are protected from clicking on 30 URLs, then that's awesome. That's something really like. And there's another thing we refer to as file sync and share, whereby you can actually securely do collaboration.
Restrict, can restrict users from having permission to your files. If you don't want certain person to have access to your files, folders, and so on, you can restrict them whereby they won't be able to do any manipulations, copy, paste, and so on the files. So we also have what's it called? We have threat alerts. Yes, obviously. It's very, very important for a solution to always feed us with updates. It's very, very important. You can't just be using a solution whereby you may not even have any updates on threats and so on. You may be upcoming or the future malwares, virus, and so on. But with Acronis, you will be updated. It will keep updating you. And okay, beware of this malware, beware of this, beware of that. And they actually, during that, during the threat alert, they also recommend a solution how to prevent those stuff from future occurrence.
Now you see what we are sending to you? Go ahead.
Okay, so we have electronic signature, whereby you can append signatures and signature online. That's electronic signatures. So with this acronym, that's the power of artificial intelligence. So they're very, very powerful. So we have secure storage, of course. It's very, very secure, both the on-prem cloud, hybrid, everything. You have a secure storage whereby your data, your environment, they are secured. Let's proceed this time. Let's proceed.
Should we tell them?
At what point do we ask questions?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Ask questions.
Okay.
At a particular time, right? Okay, yeah.
Alright, sir.
Okay, so if you think this is all, I'm sorry to break your heart, this is not all. Next slide.
Wow.
You can see.
Hey, facts. These are wolf true.
I don't want to say it's plenty. Oh, have I said it? Okay, thank you.
Advanced facts.
This is what we have brought for you. Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud. This is not all. This is not all.
Everything will be scanned. And once something is being scanned, that means if there's any unauthorized and like if there's any malware, viruses, and social engineering, phishing, and so on that is being embedded on the mail, you will receive an alert that okay, this mail is a no-go area. Don't open, and you really want to decide if you're going to open it or not. So
okay, let me just check this in before we move on from this slide. Now imagine that you just wake up one day and then you realize that your hard drive crashed. no reason for that. Just realize that your hard drive is not working again and it's not working again. Now, imagine that you have a solution like Acronis, because what Acronis does with hard drive health is that it gives you warning that your hard drive is not working perfectly. Yes. Your hard drive is about to crash. Your hard drive is working perfectly. That is called, like from 70 to 100 liters, your hard drive is okay. From like 69 to 40 is like something might happen. But from 39 downward, anytime. So how many of us have been using hard drive for about 6-7 years, and then probably it's giving us signs. We can see the signs, but we are ignoring the signs. But with Acronis, it will tell you that, guy, it's either you pack this thing up or it packs up anytime. So this solution also has that one advantage that I feel everybody in this room will like. So Acronis, let's move on. Next slide, please. Okay, so since morning we've actually been talking about Acronis, and I know for sure that majority of us in this room we use more than just one platforms. The Microsoft platforms, the Google platforms, Windows, Savannah, Amazon, name it. So far is a credible brand. Acronis is ready to actually integrate or help you to integrate those applications, and then you can manage them. You can make sure that you can back them up, you can secure them and the like. So with all these platforms, Acronis actually can work with all these listed platforms. Next slide, please. Majority of the IT guys or IT support guys that are here, what they do most time, they reset, they reload the operating system on devices, and at times it takes time. But what if I tell you that this Acronis solution can actually help you with that? Can restore or put an operating system on a perimeter, and then it works. It's very, very fast and it works efficiently. So also, it is scalable. This is a cloud solution, meaning that, okay, for example, you want to spin up a server in your local environment. It takes time, first of all, allocate some space, and then start installing the operating system before it comes up and likes. But what if I tell you that this Acronis solution can actually help you with that? Can restore or put an operating system on the perimeter, and then it works. It's very, very fast and it works efficiently. You can actually adjust based on your site, and you can actually do automated backup. You can schedule it, and then you can automate it. And one other thing, for example, you have a file. You edited the file today, the document. You edited it today, but you remember that you needed the file as at the position it was yesterday. You can actually get that with Acronis. Can get that with Acronis. But remember that if it is this Google Drive and all these collaboration ones that you're using, once you edit it, that's the end. Once it saves, that's the end. Once you leave the application, okay, if it is that you save now, then you do Ctrl Z, it can go back, right? What about for what you did yesterday? No way. But Acronis also provide that avenue for you to be able to do that.
So we also have fastest recovery, whereby within a minute, Acronis you'll be able to get back to your business. So it minimizes downtime. Yes. We also have innovative, which is the data protection. Yes, whereby we have different data protection plans. You might decide to protect your machines, the physical server, your workload systems, and so on, whereby you can just schedule the protection plan. Maybe you want the protection to happen maybe every day, that is daily, weekly, and monthly. You can do that on the data protection. Your data will be protected. So let's move to the flexibility. Okay, so for disaster recovery, for example, your organization has mission planning, the server is down and then it is a business hour whereby critical activities are going on. In order to avoid downtime for the organization, you can actually have this disaster recovery whereby all what you are having on your on-prem server are being backed up immediately on the cloud. And when there is a fail, if
on-prem service, you can easily switch to the cloud service and you work smoothly without anybody noticing any glitches. All of us here would know what a downtime of 10 minutes can actually do to any organization that's working. For example, I remember last year, WhatsApp was down for 45 minutes. It did not only trend in Nigeria, it was trending worldwide because just a single application which all of us have actually depended on every is down. Why do you think banks avoid downtime? Or why do you think so? There are so many organizations that actually avoid downtime, and the organization is what to actually avoid those downtimes. So that disaster recovery, you can actually avoid that. If your on-prem server is down, you can actually switch over. And when you are back, you can actually recover all what you've done back to your on-prem server, and you still work obviously fine without any issue. So yeah, you can work with it. You can, it depends on the configuration that you want to use. You can do the secure VPN whereby it will ask you password this way, and then it has to be a very secure one, and it can just be between you and that what's it called? The server that you are trying to access, and no one else can actually have access to that server. So a lot of things you can actually do with Acronis disaster recovery, and I think it is a must-have for every organization that is willing not to have downtime in their organization.
Thank you so much, team. I see I have a very wonderful team. They are jovial, they are lively, and all of that. Okay, just to round up what my colleagues have presented, Acronis is a solution that sells itself. You don't really need to talk too much about Acronis because it's hard before you find a solution that has all the package in one: protection, backup, disaster recovery, file sync and share, e-notary, name them, patch management, vulnerability scanning, cyber physical, a lot of those. So as an MSP, who should be my target audience? Everybody. Everybody should be your target audience because nobody wants to waste money on purchasing a lot of applications that can do various things when they can have just one application that will do everything that they need to do. So here is the thing. Just get can you go to where that like company that took off? Yes. Just look at there's another one that has, I don't know, maybe you don't have that one. That has the basic pack and the advanced pack. I don't think you have it in your slide. Alright. So you can look at this number of features. So even just this slide alone, sending to a customer that you have an application that can do all of this alone has sold itself. You don't need to bother too much. Alright, so if you are considering that, okay, as an MSP, how do I compete in the big space with the likes of Vim and other backup solutions? They cannot compete. You are not competing with them. You are rather improving that solution because you can integrate Acronis with so many other solutions like M365. Microsoft does not do backup. They don't do protect. They only do syncing. Yeah, they only sync the products, right? So it works with other products. You don't actually need to be scared or looking at competing with other systems. Just get this slide and then you are good to go. Thank you. Alright, sorry. Irene, you wanted to add something?
My name is Irene Odley. I'm a solutions engineer with Acronis. Before I put the icing on the cake, these guys have done different layers, red velvet, chocolate, vanilla. Now it's time for me to decorate. Do you have any questions? Anything you're worried about? Anything? Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ikeja from Promethean.
Okay.
So I would like to know about the neutralization.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one key area that I try to invade, talk with local firms.
Have you? I can ask you this question because
Yes, yes.
Have you tried implementing it? Have you tried playing around with it?
Yeah, but I still couldn't get the big hand of it. Okay. All right, so I even contacted Matt,
Okay.
to get some info. The question I had was with I was talking with a client, a prospect, and he asked me issues around regulations. Because when we talk about notarization, it really affects legal firms and the regulations around this thing. You know, because we're trying to prevent the need to send documents, original documents through courier. You could have that notarized digitally, right? Document protection and the rest. But now, the question they had was about is acceptance in the judicial system in Nigeria and otherwise.
Okay, this is I think the best way for me to answer this is this. The technology that is being used for notarization is a world accepted technology, right? It is for a lot of us that into cybersecurity, cryptographic technology, which means that what happens is when the files are being notarized and a hash, I don't have to say A or I, hash is created, right? And that is a globally accepted, way of encrypting, right, and protecting, or rather of determining the integrity.
Authenticity, right?
Yes, and authenticity of any communication, any process. Like for example, in just your normal day-to-day communication, you're sending files across or let's just say communication. I don't want to use files, so I'm not get confused. Packets, are being transmitted across to, and those packets are being, hashed, are being encrypted. So that is what we're using. So basically, we sign up with the blockchain technology, right? And then it's actually used to create a hash. So that alone actually just gives you that global, because it's not something that anybody created, right? It's not peculiar to anybody, Yeah. Any further questions?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Chubemeka is my name from I Know Technologies. I would like to ask the gentleman that presented to tell me how, if Acronis do calculate the time it takes to do a restore. That is one. Now, during restore, right?
Yes.
Is it possible for Acronis to calculate the time it will take? That is, after taking the backup, you now want to restore. Will Acronis be able to tell me how long it is going to take me to restore a particular file?
Okay.
Let's say I have 1 terabyte or something.
Yeah. Okay. So
that is one.
Okay.
That is one.
So
the second one is I would like to understand how Acronis handles ransomware in terms of protecting it. That's the second one. Then the third one is he mentioned during the presentation that within 1 minute of restore, users can start using the files. Now I understand that we have files of different sizes. Does it apply to all the files that you're restoring? And what are the mechanisms that it uses in terms of that restore for users to quickly start using them, right? Then the last one, but not the least, is now you back up maybe a physical box or Hyper-V or VMware or Nutanix AHV, right? And then in terms of restore, can you restore from one hypervisor to another hypervisor? Or is it peculiar to maybe just from one hypervisor to its own? These are the few questions I have for now.
Okay, so I'm going to answer question 1, 3, and 4 together. Right?
Yeah.
So just about the entire backup and restoration process. So when it comes to restoration, right, there are a lot of factors that are put in place. One of the easiest ways, talk about calculation, the other way we are able to give you exact figures and say, okay, this file you're restoring, it will take this amount of time. It's number one, if your file, your backup file is sitting in our cloud. Number two, if you're restoring also to a virtual machine in the cloud. I think they mentioned this in the presentation, where you can actually back up from a physical server and restore to a virtual machine in the cloud, right? In a situation where the server crashes, you're still waiting for the guys to bring a replacement, right? But you have to keep working, right? You can actually spin up a virtual machine in our cloud and then restore to that virtual machine and then begin to work. Now, where we cannot give you an exact figure as to restoration back to a physical environment is because there are a lot of factors involved. Right? you have to talk about your internet speed, right? You have to talk about the size, right? The capacity of or the specification of the server, the hardware, you understand, that you're restoring to. So all of that factors actually could come into it. So the only way we can confidently say RPO, less than 5 minutes, confidently, is if all of that activity. So that happens in a situation where you're doing physical to virtual machine, or virtual machine in the cloud, physical to VM restoration, or disaster recovery. That also works under our own disaster recovery system, right? So that speaks to calculation. Now, what are the options we have for restoration? So like I mentioned, we can do physical to virtual machine. We can do physical virtual machine to bare metal. Do you understand what I mean? So what it means is you back up from a physical server, you back up from a virtual machine, whatever application or whatever operating system is running on that physical or virtual machine. And then you can back up, you can restore to a clean device that does not have any installation, anything on it, right? All you just need to put in mind when doing your backup is that your backup has to be an image backup. Do you understand? So once you have an image backup, it's easy for us, right? Now, with regards to restoring across operating system, that wouldn't work because operating systems restoring from a Linux to Windows, or restoring from Hyper-V to they speak different languages, right? The best we can do for you is for you to, if you have a if you backed up from a Hyper-V virtual machine, all you need to do is just, as long as what you did at the point of backing up was a full image backup, all you need to do is just get a clean infrastructure, either virtual or physical, right, that has the same specification. So when I mean specification, I mean CPU and RAM specification as or higher. That's what is recommended. Some people take the risk to do maybe slightly lower, or we cannot guarantee the integrity of the restoration when it happens, right? But you have it if at the point of backing up, your virtual machine was running, say, 8 core, 16 gig. What we expect is that you keep that same specification on the machine or higher on the machine that you're restoring to, and then you're good to go.
Do data at rest and data in motion protection. What it means is that the physical machine that the data is on is going to protect, once you apply protection plan,
protect that data. And at the point of transfer of the data from your system to the storage location, it does data in motion protection. And same applies to when you are restoring.
So it's not possible to upload a virus or a ransomware or a malware and then download it to on a normal syncing hard drive. You can upload virus, download it because it doesn't do any protection. What Acronis is protect it while at rest and also protect it while in motion and vice versa when you're trying to restore. Any further question?
Some of these other vendors have method of improving their threat identification and response. That's what we call SDR, right? Does Acronis have an innovative threats are always coming up every time? But what does Acronis do to always update itself?
Alright, maybe insight. So what, like my colleague mentioned, the AI and the ML capability. So they learn patterns. They do real-time protection. So they don't do like the way you mentioned that its own antivirus that time that is offline. So they do real-time protection. That means it learns patterns. It doesn't just deal with known patterns. It has the ability to learn new pattern that is coming up for a virus. And once you notice a misbehavior in that pattern that is outside a normal pattern that a particular file or folder should behave, it quickly takes it off and cut it off, isolate it.
So in addition to what you said, right, we have our advanced security solution, which does machine learning, behavioral heuristics, artificial intelligence. So we are already able to provide that 0-day protection, right? Because we are able to monitor, identify, and even we now have DDR, which is the endpoint detection and response solution. It's going to be launched in at the end of this quarter. Yeah. So we have that. Although it's already you can already activate it on the portal. Yeah. So we have the EDR, which also does incident, response. Is able to detect and also respond. So we have a fully fleshed, holistic end-to-end security solution. In bracket, from an endpoint perspective.
If I want to tune in regarding the social media, for instance, most times clients have a particular security that is used to what they do. They also protect it. I will put it this way in such a way that it's actually recommended from the OEM that this is what they should use. And they come across Acronis and they also like the content that Acronis is telling. How do you balance them? Let me put it this way. Take for instance, you have two ISP in the network. Decide to do what we call it quarantine, whereby one phase, the other one phase without the user is only to anything. So how can Acronis play that role? Whereby two solutions do normally the same thing, but they actually pick a particular mode that they like from Acronis and they try to integrate it with what they already have. How can that be? Then secondly, the email security talked about. I really want to understand because we have several email panels. We can talk about the C panel which runs on the cloud has to do with email. Then we also have an exchange server. Now I need to understand that where does this advanced email security actually play a role on that regard? Okay, thank you.
So first and foremost, let me address that from an email perspective. We support both on-premise and cloud email. Right, so if you're running, in fact, cPanel is one of the, did that show on the integrations I was, right, so it's one of the solutions that we support fully, right, because we have a lot of customers across globally that use cPanel. In fact, we support it so much that it is one of our integrations. So what that means is that you can actually integrate your cPanel to Acronis Cloud, right, and then work with them seamlessly. Now, from an Exchange server perspective, yes, we support. All you have to do is just point the email security solution to the Exchange server, just point it to the IP address, and then all of that interaction. The email security solution scans every email that is going into the server to ensure that the email is clear. So from whichever perspective you're looking at it from, either cloud, irrespective of the provider. So it could be your own domain, or you could be using Office 365, Google Workspace, yes, and the like. Yes, we support them. Then
just to add to that, especially that Google Workspace talk about and 365, Microsoft will also tell you that they are not liable for any data loss at your own end, right? So what it means is that if you mistakenly delete the data from 365, it's gone. It syncs, the OneDrive syncs, and then everything is gone. But with Acronis, I can go back to, let me say, yesterday, to restore the data of yesterday, if I mistakenly deleted the data. So far as you schedule the backup and it's backed up yesterday, I can go back to yesterday and just recover that yesterday file and then continue our operation. So you can see the way it enhances, it's not competing with Microsoft, it enhances the value of Microsoft.
Yes, okay, good. So what you are saying is, if I'm to get your question correctly, you have two endpoint solutions. So the customer already has an endpoint security solution, and then he's considering, or he likes the Acronis feature. Okay, for now we do not we don't have conflict. So we actually have customers that run both, right? So if this solution is not able to catch, Acronis will catch it. Abi? Some customers have had to deactivate previous existing endpoint security solution, right? So that's really not a problem. At the end of the day, it depends on what the customer wants. And how do I put it? From a cost perspective, let me just go there. It's really not cost efficient for the customer to run through security solution. So some customers bring it on, try to understand, okay, which one serves me both, which one has the better, and then eventually takes one off. So it's not a problem. Because when you say load balancing, I'm worried about that word because right?
Let me just expand shift on what you said. The reason why we are saying that is that for endpoints, have two antivirus. It might affect even my physical workstation because it will be conflicting. They both are running at a very, when you say protection, they are both running at a high capacity. And then you might have sometimes some have to slow down, and then some things have to run slow on the system and all of that. But what we can do in terms of that load balancing is that Acronis has the console where you can switch off and switch on the features that you don't want. So, for example, I've had an environment where I had to switch off the Cyber Protect because they only wanted, I had to switch off some security features because they only wanted backup. We already have a native security that they are very relaxed, they don't want to change. All these customers, like, they are very relaxed, they don't want to change it. But then they wanted backup. So, we just switch on the backup for them and this is what I've done.
At every point in time. So if you have customers that, except in very rare situations where the customer says, I have an endpoint security solution, but I'm not satisfied. I feel like I want more. That's when you can say, okay, let's offer you Acronis endpoint. But if the customer is fine what it's doing and maybe what he wants again is just backup, to complement his endpoint, then that's okay.
One thing though, for every brand new system has an injury recovery embedded inside. Yes. Now, what happened, like you said something while your colleague said something regarding the training. So if a system or a server crash, how do Acronis come in and recover the operating system again? One. Two, I also noticed that when I was seeing all your data chain value in terms of integrations, I didn't see Citrix there, Citrix server. Okay. I didn't see PFN server there. And these are the new server endpoint that they're using now for most like oil companies. Okay. They use Citrix and PFN servers. So now I need to and NAT. So I need to understand or throw more light on that. How do you can see it? So we don't have that there. Right. I'm only see it on Amazon area there, which is virtual. That's virtual. So how can we have it if we have it on premise? Can we also do the same?
The same operating system.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, but that's confusing. But let's
because I know when it's on virtual, when it's on cloud, what happens is that a lot of plugins are already been integrated. Okay. So what happens is that when you bring in your third-party agent, what happens is that firmware started aligning together because of their packets. They start aligning together. So I'm also saying in such a way that if we have it on premise, can we have that same add-ons so that when you bring in your agent, you start also seeing this plugin?
Okay, from a clear response, from a physical server perspective, we only at this point in time support Microsoft, Windows, and Linux, right? Operating system. No, Mac is a desktop. I'm saying physical servers, right? From a virtual machine perspective, yes, we have quite a range there. But from a physical server, now, okay, before we start this dissecting, let me talk about disaster recovery. So you're worried about the server crashes. How do we get everything on?
When you want to load an OS on a workstation, when you want to load a new workstation, you need to have an OS, and then you need to load a new workstation. So if you want to load, how do I say? If you want to provision, maybe this system crashes and you need to install a Windows 10 or Windows, you need a bootable media file. It depends on the level of damage. You have to consider that also. I've had cases whereby you cannot recover it.
Can I respond to that? Disaster recovery, right, with Acronis is very simple and straightforward, right? If you have a server, virtual or physical, that contains or carries critical information,
and you cannot allow to crash, or you cannot allow any form of downtime. It's pretty simple. You come to Acronis and say, hey, I want to sign up to disaster recovery for this machine. What we do is that we set up backup for that machine. At the point of backing up, what we'll be backing up is the full machine. So when I say image backup, we're talking about the backing of the operating system, the backing of the bootable information, the configuration, the IP addressing, everything about that system. Also, at the point of setting up that server for disaster recovery, we also provision a virtual machine, a recovery server in the cloud that carries the same parameters. So when I need parameters, CPU, RAM, IP addressing, if you need public IP addressing, we also assign for that machine. So that recovery server sits in the cloud, sits on standby. It's not turned on, but it's there, provisioned and waiting for you. So on this specific day, you come to the office, machine 5. It's very simple. I'll show you in the console later. Stage 3 of our disaster recovery. We also have what is called runbook. So what runbook does is that it actually allows you to automate and orchestrate. I know you have clients that have maybe 30, 40 servers, right, running critical workload, right, and they are worried, how do I automate this, right? If I have 30 servers or 30 virtual machines, I have critical application running on them. How do I ensure that all of this happens seamlessly, everything is done properly? That's where runbooks come in. So what runbooks allows you to do is, in a way, write code in human-related form on how failover processes should happen. So if you have your database server, right, that has to come on before your application server, your billing server, your finance server comes on, right, you can actually give step-by-step instructions. So, okay, when I click failover, I want you to first of all turn on server A, which is my database server. Once server A is turned on and everything is checked, the network connectivity is fine, the application ports are up and running, go ahead to turn on server B. And you can give that step-by-step instruction. And the system checks all of that for you, right? It checks, once it's turned on, it checks if the network port is up, it checks the IP address configuration. It actually pings the IP address, it goes to the port, it checks if the port is turned on. Once that is good to go, it moves on, turn on server B. Like that, all of it is completed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tranter from Arabic. Okay, from your presentation, I understand that Acronis provides all-in-one solution. So the area I'm focusing on is on your workstation. It provides security to your data and information you have on your workstation, right? So from the sales point of view, I would like to know if there's any guarantee on the security you're providing, or sort of service level agreement, in case if there's any attack on your system, even after you have implemented an Acronis, or if there's a theft, maybe it's your data or something like that, and your emails too. Because from what you have given us, it's as if with all this, there's no issue with data theft or.
Nobody can guarantee you 100%. This like
you can have listen.
Nobody can guarantee. Well, I can guarantee you 99.99999.
Is it documented?
So the thing about it, guy, I think you're going to plug my system. I don't have another presentation I want to show you. So maybe later I'll show you. I'll bring it up and I'll show you. So we have been, I think one of the easiest ways to just respond to that is that we can confidently compete with any endpoint security solution out there. We have been tested and accredited by all the major accreditation units. So Virus Total, AV, all the testers, all the industries that actually take it upon themselves to test security solutions and give grades, So we have actually been tested by all of them and given top recommendations by all of them. I can show you the slide if you want. It's not a problem. So from an endpoint security, I always like to hammer on it because sometimes when you hear security, one of the things that comes to people's mind is network. No, we don't do network. Our focus is endpoint. And why our endpoint security is even more robust is that we even support a whole lot more than other endpoint security solutions. Right? Most endpoint security solutions are focused on laptop and desktop. But we actually offer security to your servers, your virtual machines, and the rest. Right? So our own solution is broader. We have a broader range of support, more or less, than other security solutions. And like I said, we are capable. Deploy and go and see.
I believe you also know that no worldwide recognized cyber institution would give or would slack with it. They are always improving. That's why it's called real-time protection.
Exactly. And then another thing is we have features. A lot of the features that are built into our security solutions, truly, right? Because I'm coming from I've always been in security, right? And I came mostly from a network security perspective, right? Into Acronis, where I focus now with endpoint. But when you compare the features in Acronis' endpoint security solution, sometimes I say they should have just named this in endpoint firewall, right? Because the feature you get in a robust firewall system, right? It's like they just picked it, compressed it, and put it in an endpoint. So it goes beyond the normal endpoint security solution that you have. Things like being able to do vulnerability assessment, on your machine, being able to do patch management, cyber fit score. Have you heard of cyber fit score before? All of those features, in addition to all these anti-malware, antivirus, ransomware protection, which the normal guys do. Exploit prevention. Exploit prevention is even very key. What exploit prevention does is that it prevents, from time to time, computers have vulnerability based on what's happening out there. One day Microsoft will wake up and realize that, hey, when we're building this part of our system, we forgot to protect this part. It happens. But the system can actually prevent attackers from taking out, because that's what happens. That's really how attackers attack system. They find a vulnerability, they fish vulnerability on your machine and then exploit that vulnerability. And we have an exploit prevention system from stopping that from happening. So we actually have a very robust endpoint security system. Set anybody. Nine. As many nines as your breath can take.
I think this should be the last question because of other activities. If you have any question, you can always meet us personally. So I will not bore because I see too many sales people already sneezing up. Good.
Everybody, my name is Ikeja from Arabo. Now, Acronis is very big on virtual machine protection, network protection, but we know that your organization is only as strong as its weakest link. And people are the weakest link in any organization. You might have a 100% secure network, but if the person makes a mistake, maybe exposes the password or uses the password, you have actually created a loophole. So my question is, in all your products, I didn't see identity protection, like zero trust, verify as in seriously. So what service does Acronis have for protecting people? That's the identity. Do you have any service like that, or is it in the pipeline? Because it's very important. It's the cheapest way of protecting your organization, protecting people. So what I didn't see, that's why I'm asking. Like, what do you have on that solution?
No, I was actually nodding my head like, yeah, actually right, I didn't mention it. Because it's just like an MSP overview. That's why we didn't go too detailed. As I said, if you want a demo, cascading, but it's present there. There are two levels of protection that I can guarantee you. First, if a backup takes place on the workstation, if it's maybe a VIP and they don't want, they want to ensure that, okay, what guarantee do you want to give me as a VIP that my system admin will not have access to my data? There is a password protection right from the end workstation that you can activate. So the VIP user can put his own password there that whenever they want to recover that data, without that password, it cannot be recovered. That is one. Then two, for access into the portal, there's MFA option, you have the authenticator app, you have the SMS option, you have the email code option, whichever option you want to use, they are actually present there. Because of it's just an MSP, but never really dive too deep down into all of that.
Sorry. You raised a very important question, and I was waiting for that point. What is asking you is insider threats, identity. How do I know a role of my network or of my system? Because a hacker who is coming in is coming with an identity. So how is my Active Directory protected to identify that this person that is trying to access this portal is not my staff or is your own identity? That's what I think is asking.
Okay, so let me respond to that. Right now, at this point in time, we don't have role-based access control yet. Right, we're working on it. It's very key. Again, we get a lot of push on that. But in spite of that, I think I don't want to say when you start using the system, you understand. But let me try to explain it. So we are putting places, mechanisms in place to control who has access to what. Right. Now, one of the first things we do is we have done government has login control. So first and foremost, the portal is a web-based portal. So the only way you can access the portal really is through your browser. Right. So you can actually specify that this browser can only be logged in from a certain IP address. Yes. So once you have that imputed, no matter where the person is coming from, right? Once that IP address doesn't match the IP address that you have given, it can happen. Of course, automatically by default we have two-factor authentication enabled. From a backup perspective, we can actually also encrypt your backup folder files. So you're worried about, I'm backing up to the cloud. What if somebody has access to my backup files and is able to use the backup files to do whatever they want to do? So you can actually encrypt it such that as we collect backup from your devices, that those backup it's encrypted. And at the point of enabling that encryption technology, you input the password. So what that means is that anybody that does not have that password, even if they have access to the backup file, they can't do anything with that backup file. Because they would need that password to be able to do restoration, recovery, anything. In fact, it is so watertight that if you lose the password, that's the end. Acronis does not have access to it. We don't know the password. We cannot do a password restore or reset for you. So even we usually drill things down to our partners that when you're doing encrypted backup and you input a password, that you also have to go the extra length to ensure that that password is kept protected and it is available when you need it. If you lose it, that's it. You've lost all your backup files. There's nothing we can do about it. So those are some of the measures that we can actually
to ensure that to a large extent we protect access.
People that do not need to access the console, the backup files, do not have access to it. Like I said, we're currently working on role-based access control. It's forefront, in fact, on our roadmap.
I think that's any further question?
Outside here because of our time, I'm sure.
It's not very technical, maybe like 40% technical, just to give an idea, right? A holistic perspective of, from a sales perspective, what exactly are we doing? Because we're talking about a lot, right? How do all of these things integrate, with each other? Chief, next slide. Okay, I think we can skip this. We already know this now. Should I run through it?
So, of course, we are a Swiss company. Our major goal is protecting your data, your information, your application, your system, right, from attack. And when people say attacks, a lot of people, one of the first things that comes to people's mind is cyber attack. But what people don't know is that attacks can also come in different ways. So we actually have disaster. Disaster is actually an attack on your system. Human error is an attack on your system, right? So we have built a robust system, that is built mostly on automation and orchestration, most especially to protect against human error, right? So that's our goal. Our head office is in Singapore. We were founded in 2003, so we've been around for quite a while. Of course, we're growing every day. Currently, we're doing up to about 275 million annual recurring. So that shows that we're not a small company. We have about 80,000% cloud growth year on year. So that means is that even from a cloud perspective, right, we see a lot of growth in our cloud business. Global local presence. Currently, we have about 2,000 employees globally. 35 locations, 35 offices, right? But we are operational in 150 countries, one of which is Nigeria. Where we are. When we build our office, Microsoft, I'm not saying. That's why we are currently building data centers across the globe. So currently, we have about 52 data centers globally. The hope is to get it to about 100 in the next 24 months. And we have two of them in Africa. One in Nigeria here. In how many countries does Africa have? 50 something countries. They now show South Africa and Nigeria. We are doing well now. And hopefully we'll be getting one in Kenya. I think that Kenya will be launching next month. Kenny, remind me. Yeah, so we're launching Kenya data center, right? And of course, the aim is to keep growing. So we understand the need behind how the data protection and all the rest. Some certain kind of data must not leave the shores of certain countries, and we're actually also putting that in mind. So if your customer asks you, you have data center, you can. Recently, we just provisioned. Kenny, we just provisioned 200 terabytes. Has it been done? It's in process in Nigeria. So we are ready for you. Next question, next slide, please. Okay, so cyber protection for everyone. What does this mean? Right, it's simple. So what we have done is we have looked at, thank God we are post-COVID now, right? So we have taken a look at all the different stages of biological threat. And what we have discovered is that there's actually a lot of similarities, both from a prevention to detection, response, and all of this. And the best part of it is that Acronis actually plays from a computer threat perspective with all of these areas, right? So when you look at it from a prevention perspective, how do we prevent the system from getting attacked, right? So we have solutions like vulnerability assessment, patch management, soft protection, right? That actually helps to do that. So what we do is that with our vulnerability assessment solution, right? Cyber security actually also do on this. We can actually run scans, scheduled scans from time to time on your infrastructure and tell you if your infrastructure has any vulnerability. And this, we're not just running scans on our own. These are scans that we run based on the globally accepted standards. So we run it in comparison with the CVE database, right? And so once we run it, we tell you, okay, you have vulnerability present in the system, and this is where automation comes in. So you have a vulnerability document, right? You start looking for, where do I get a patch? How am I going to get a patch? Automatically, from your vulnerability assessment report, right, we actually can point you to where you can download and install the patch. So the vulnerability, in fact, if you want to do patch management, you actually have to turn on vulnerability assessment to be able to do the patch management. So they work hand in hand, right? So once you do the vulnerability scan, once the results are out, the results also come with a recommendation on go and patch, right? And you do that automatically. You don't need to, because sometimes you might even patch the wrong patch. If you say you want to go and look for it yourself, there are so many information on the internet. You get there and you can go the wrong patch. And that's where you see people have problems doing patching, right? They start patching and then halfway into the patch, the system crashes, right? You get all of that in there. So you actually protect against that. Forensics, right? So that forensics speaks to reactive. It has happened. How do I ensure that it doesn't happen again? How did it happen? What happened? You understand? How did the hackers get into the system? And it goes beyond, even from a disaster perspective. Like for example, the situation where you say you come into the office automatically, your hard disk is right? We actually have, that will basically sit under prevention. So we actually have a system that monitors your disk health. So it checks your disk health from time to time and lets you know if that disk is going to fail any point in time, right? So it's actually that robust. Now, coming back again, prevention, backup before update. What does this mean? Right? In situations where you're doing your patch update, if you want to patch your system to vulnerability, I talked about how people will be patching and then something happens. So what we do to prevent that is that before a patch resumes, before you start installing that patch, you can actually instruct the system to take a backup, right, of the state of the system at that point in time. So that if at any point in time anything fails, all you have to do is just restore that backup. And it's an image backup anyway. So you restore that backup, your data is good and clean. You are not losing any data. Malware detection. That's also one thing I'm always very excited about. So you collect backup from your device. Every day you tell us collect backup every Monday from this device. And we do that. But what we have not realized is that there are malware fragments, in the backups that we're collecting. It's not a full, it's just the attacker comes today, drops this file, comes to go, you know how they work now. It's not something that is enough to flag, to raise alert, but it happens. And then eventually, weeks from the past, eventually becomes a full-blown attack. Of course, you are saying, I have backup in the cloud. My data is all lost. All I just need to do is format the system and restore. Forgetting that the backup that is there still has that worm, still has that rat on it. So when you're restoring, you are back to square one. That's where backups come in. Malware detection and backup. So even as your backup files sit in our cloud, we can actually scan them from time to time for any malware fragments or executable files and all the rest, just to ensure that at the point of restoring, what you're restoring is clean files. And it works in both ways. So you can schedule it pre-planned, or maybe it has happened before you realize that, I have malware in the cloud. Possibility that malware could be, backup in the cloud. Possibility that backup could also be infected. Very simple. We have what's called safe recovery. At the point of restoration, you just tell the system, please scan this file on its way down, ensuring that what you have is clean, right? Of course, once we're able to detect the malware, we don't just detect it, we also are able to remove it and clean it up. Automated disaster recovery, okay, we talked about that. Cyber protection management, desktop and assistant. When we talk about our cyber protection solution, right? I feel that they always downplay the management module. We have a management module. It's one of our solutions that people actually pay for, right? And it's usually downplayed. But it can do a lot, from hardware inventory to software inventory. Tell any IT guy, say, guy, go and do your hardware inventory now. The guy will be sweat. Because it means that you have to go to every system. My computer. Start checking my computer. Okay, what's the operating system? What's the RAM size? In fact, click on the button. The hardware inventory solution. Click on the button. It will pull all of that information for you. Also from a software perspective, click on the button, pull all that information. What applications, what softwares are running on all the systems in the organization. What build are they? What version? Are they updated? All of that information. Then before you now start talking about remote desktop, I know these guys talked about it. So the management solution alone is very robust. In fact, I feel that it is a big sell, most especially to IT admins, because it makes their job very easy and very seamless. Right? So that's where that comes in. And of course, forensics, forensic management, you're able to take forensic data that you can actually use for investigation. Next slide. Sorry, I've already explained tired. Just go, because a lot. Thank you. Okay, so we've talked about this, just to reiterate, how we have grown from just being a backup and disaster recovery solution organization now to what we refer to as a cyber protection company. Our job is to offer holistic protection in the system, the application, the data. End to end.
And we don't just protect from just cyber attacks, we protect from any form of attack that could be coming to the system, even human error. Human error is not very key. That is why automation is built. In fact, next slide. It is so important to us that we have even developed a solution that is automation.
Slide shows you all the solutions that we offer. Email security, DLP, security, we have advanced security as a solution, and then we have advanced security plus EDR. Our EDR solution is not sold as a standalone, it's sold in collaboration with our advanced security solution. Because
the idea is that we believe that both of them can actually work together to give that holistic security protection for your organization. Management, I talked about management, patch management, fail-safe patching, that's what I talked about, backing up before patching. Backup, talked about backup, that one is, everybody knows that one. Disaster recovery, we talked about disaster recovery. File sync and share and notary, we talked about that. And then, of course, finally, automation. So these are all the modules. I prefer to use the word modules, right? One license, different modules. One license, put in mind, different modules. So what that means is that once you sign up, you have access to all of this. All you need to do is say, okay, I don't want this, turn it off. I want this, turn it off. Click on the button. Also, you just enable it, and that automatically gives you access to the solution. So I think that's the last slide. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
First time I'm hearing about Acronis.
Wow.
So, thank you. It's interesting. Your first slide showed that you have 3 platforms.
Yes.
There's Cyber Protect. That is what you've been talking about so
Yeah.
far. Then there's Cyber Cloud, Cyber Platform.
Okay. Where did you get that from?
I think it's your first slide.
Mine.
No, it's just different modules.
Okay. It's all integrated.
Yes.
So earlier it was said, you can sort of spin up the virtual machine.
Yes, that's the on-premise version.
On-premise version.
Yes. Cyber Protect.
Of Cyber Protect.
Yes.
You have a virtual machine.
Yes.
So you're providing compute.
Yes.
So maybe I can run my servers on Acronis.
Okay, no. Sorry, I mistook your question. But let me say it this way. We don't offer infrastructure as a service. The only form of infrastructure that we offer is storage. And because we do backup, we have to keep your files somewhere.
Oh.
Right? So, but aside from disaster recovery purposes, right, where we spin up a virtual machine for you in the cloud, and when you're doing
in which cloud?
In Acronis cloud.
So you're offering compute?
Yes, for disaster recovery only.
So, but if I restore my backup,
yes, for that,
and I continue my disaster
but
recovery,
it's not our.
You don't sell it.
No, we don't sell it. It's not our forte.
So if I spin up that server, I can be using it. You won't charge me.
No. If you're spinning up a virtual machine in the cloud, we will charge you. But it is not
a product.
Yes, it's not a product. Oh. It's not a product. We will charge you for compute. There's a way we calculate our compute. Yes, but we are not an infrastructure as a service. Right. In fact, we do that in collaboration with an organization called Virtuoso. So Virtuoso actually handles the compute
part.
Yes.
So question number 2. The offering is for consumers, enterprises, everybody and anybody.
Anybody and everybody. So it's highly scalable. You can sell to customers that have 5 servers. You can sell to customers that have 100, 200. Last week I was talking to a customer that has 500 POCs. POSs.
Okay.
Yeah. We wanted to deploy Acronis, as large as you can. Okay.
A lot of what you're saying is interesting. Is there opportunities to develop solutions that target your Acronis environment, for example, for cloud storage?
Yeah.
Right? So you have storage generally. All the cloud providers provide cloud storage. So do you have APIs?
Yes, we do.
That can be used to target.
Okay, so I don't think it is an have.
I think it is more like we allow you to develop APIs. Yeah, so you can plug your own system, right? In fact, we have a developers course on our so I think that's I'm not a developer, so I'm not bothered to go through it. But I know that there's a developer course that, from my understanding, it teaches you how to develop an API to plug into our Acronis environment.
Thank you.
What the console looks like, right? I'm going to try and explain everything to you. So as you can see, we have a lot of new features, right? Once there's a new feature, once you open the console, it actually alerts you and say, hey, we just added this to it as a partner. Okay, where are we starting from? This, as a partner, is your tenant. This is your work tool. This is where you look after your customers. This is where you do your administration. This is where you provision them. This is where you onboard them. Right, so we're going to run through this, and then from here we'll go into the customer center.
There are some partners here who already have access to their portal.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you probably log in as well and follow Irene as she's going, so that if you have any question on your own partner portal, you can actually ask her. Thank you.
Okay, so this monitoring tab, most especially the usage tab, is actually very key. Right, I always advise my partners to take a look at this. So what is done, most especially for pricing purposes, right? Because this is how you can tell how much as a partner you owe Acronis. And put in mind that all of this is a summary of all your customers put together, right? So if you're saying 1.6 terabyte, that means all your customers, if you have 20 customers, what they're doing from a backup perspective, cumulatively, is that 1.6 terabytes, and that's what Acronis will bill you for, right? So even down to, so you can see, so if you're on a power workload, please scroll gently, right? So if you're on a power workload, you can say, okay, you have 12 virtual machines, hosting servers, how many Microsoft 3656. All of this, all you need to do is just look at it. Look at the pricing calculator, impute that figure seamlessly. At the end of the day, it comes up, calculate how much you owe Acronis for that period of time, right? So that's what this actually boils down to. Operations, next. So operations actually gives you, it's like a dashboard where you can see what is happening within your customer's environment without having to log into it. So the alerts that are generated from your customer's environment, you can actually also see them here. So as you can see from this, from a device's perspective, this is data protection services customer. 2 devices here already have alerts. One is warning, one is okay, right? So if it's something that you need to investigate further, this would actually give you an idea of, okay, let me log into the customer's premises, device or environment rather, and see if why this alert, what's going on exactly. So it just gives you a summary of, okay, what is happening, the kind of alerts that are being generated from the customer's customer. So if you're maybe predominantly a security XP, right, you might just want to focus on only security widgets. So select whichever one that you want to be able to get from it. First glance, right, information about that particular operation. This is a worldwide service provider. Look at me now. I'm balling. These are all my customers. These are all the people that are giving me 1.6 terabytes as it is right now. Right? So this page shows you all your customers, just summary really. What their tenant status is, what billing mode you're on. Remember we talked about per workload and per gigabyte. Yeah, so you can actually see that from there. If they have 6-factor authentication, enabled or disabled, what management mode they're on, I'll talk about this later. From a cloud perspective, how are they doing their backup? From partner-owned perspective. So we actually allow situations where partners can actually offer backup. Just imagine that you have your backup in AWS, right? Your recovery server, of course, has to sit in Acronis, right? So you're saying, when I need to do the disaster recovery, Acronis has to first go to AWS to collect that backup file and come and load it on the recovery server. Anything can happen. Internet might be off. Anything can happen. And so your disaster recovery process fails. So So for us to be able to give you that seamless good process, right? We always recommend that when you do disaster recovery, you back to Acronis Cloud. An organization is very innovative, and we realize that one of the key things about innovation is collaboration, right? We have customers across the globe that are using different kind of tools and applications to perform different kind of functions within the organization, right? So we all also try to build our platform to be able to integrate with some of these solutions. And in fact, I think the end goal really is to be able to integrate with as much solution as we can, just that open source perspective, So that's the idea. So we have quite a number of them. Okay, now the best part of all of this is this, right? As you can see here, you see where it says learn more, and it doesn't just stop at learn more. It says configure. So that configure, when you click on configure, it gives you step-by-step guide, right? So if it's a solution that you're interested in, you don't need to worry about, okay, or you want to do, how do I go about it? There's actually step-by-step guide on how to do that integration, already available for you as a partner. So with branding, we can actually allow you to white label the solution. So we usually see this in situations where, for example, my guy here offers software development, right? In addition to his software development services, you can go to his customer and say, hey, I can develop the software for you, but I can also back it up, I can also secure it, I can also, you understand, package that bundle and sell it to the customer. And then because he doesn't want the customer to know that what he's using to offer the remaining services is Acronis, he will come here and come and change everything. Change his name, change the color scheme, the URL, even as much as the support URL, right? Such that when the customer wants to reach out to support, they'll first of all call him and say, or send an email to him first, right? Before he then decides to escalate to Acronis. So we actually allow for that. As granular as you can be. Phone number, knowledge-based URL, all of it. Web interface, all of it. You can actually customize it, right? For you to be able to white label it. You have a lot of, in fact, the only way you need to catch some of them at the end of at the footnote like this, you don't be powered by Acronis. So what immutable storage seeks to do is to prevent malicious deletion. Well, it could not be malicious. It could be unintentional. It could just, mistake, right? So what that means is that somebody, maybe a fellow team member, a fellow admin, or a disgruntled staff that they just sacked, goes to the system and deletes all the backup files. And this is what happens, right? So once you have immutable storage set, right, you can actually specify a retention period. So immutable storage can be likened to your recycle bin, your trash can on your desktop, right? Where once you delete from your computer, it really doesn't go. It sits in the trash can for a period of time before you get it. That's what immutable storage does. So you specify, and it is, because I know I've heard that question when somebody says, when you're backing up, there is a cleanup period. So when you're backing up, you can tell the system, keep my backup file for only 3 months. After 3 months, feel free to do, right? We can actually detect if the deletion was done by the system or was done, by the user. Right? So once we detect that deletion was done by a user, if you have immutable storage enabled, you just move it to that immutable storage and it stays there for the period that you have specified. Right? So within that period, we expect that you go there, look through the file, see, okay, this was deleted in error, and then you can recover the file. Okay, let's create a new customer. Normal agent of this. So let's look at it. So basically, this is where you just set the parameters as to how often you update your agent. Okay, so let's create a new user. Go to new. We have different options, right? We have customer, folder, partner, user, right? Customer folder allows you to group customers. So if you have customers, those are different. If you want to group your financial see a lot of companies that have subsidiaries, you know, conglomerate. So that's where that comes in. So, say as for an example, as an organization, you're signed into Acronis, but you feel that your subsidiary offers services, you know, and has a client base that they can also offer Acronis to. But you don't want to merge both businesses, right? You want them to handle their own Acronis clients separately, you know, run their own business, but you still want to be able to have that general into what's happening. That's where partner comes in. So you can create them as a partner under you as a parent partner. So what happens is that they, as a partner, will be able to do the same things you can do. They can even create these all partners if they want, right? They can get their own customers, provision their own customers, configure everything you can do. But at the end of the day, you still have that visibility into what is happening within their organization. Okay, so let's go ahead. You signed up for new customers. You signed up into Acronis, and then you're wondering, how do I set up the customer on the tenant? Right? It's very simple. All you have to do is click on click on new. See, we're not click on new, you go to new customer. So the first thing is that you input the customer name, choose the customer. Valentine Incorporated, right? From here, you can choose to set up the customer in trial mode or in production mode, depending on what phase of the sales process you are with the customer. So if you're still saying, "Oh, I want to see how the product works, I want to do this, I want to do that," you can set up a trial for the customer, or you can just go ahead to do production. Now, management mode, what does this speak to? So, you allow for 2 management modes: self-service and managed by service provider. Please let me pause here. Am I leaving anybody out? Is it clear to everybody? I can go ahead. You know you're really quiet. Okay. So self-service, what does self-service mean? You see customers that will say, just help me with tenants. I have a very sophisticated IT team in-house. They can manage it, they can learn, and they can continue to pick up the rest. I just need to set up tenant for me. So that's where self-service comes in. Now with self-service, once that tenant has been set up, you as this partner, as the service provider, would no longer have access into the customer's tenant. Except, I know say there are ways around this thing. So that means that the customer has to create a login for you or give you their username and password for you to be able to log in. But typically, you will not have access, you will not be able to log into the customer's or sign into the customer's tenant the way you normally should, right? So the idea is you're just setting up the tenant, like how you're just giving a house and you're renting it out to somebody, right? Once you give the person the key, you cannot come and check. Say, hey, why would I paint this wall yellow now? Now blue, I'm supposed to pay for it. That one don't concern you again. So that's what self-service does. Managed by service provider means that you are in charge end to end. This is usually situations where you have like small SMBs, startups, where they cannot afford to even employ an IT person, but they need that IT services, right? So that's where that comes in. So you will be responsible for setting up the customer, you'll be responsible for managing them, anything, any upgrade, any integration, any upselling, anything. Now you do. Who remembers security mode? Encrypted security mode. We talked about encryption. What are we encrypting? We're encrypting our backups. Yes. We can enable it from. Oh yeah. Somebody has a question.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name is Shegun from Liberal Consult.
Okay.
Okay, so presently now, like want to set up a customer, and the customer wants the admin right.
Yes.
And you said something now that once you give them the admin right, it means for anything administrative on this account, we'll be requesting password from them. Am I correct?
Okay, no, you didn't get it clearly.
Okay, please.
Right. So there are two service modes. Okay, good. Scroll, no, before you let me show you. So this is where you create the customer's administrator, right? Now, depending on the service mode that you choose for that customer, that is how you will know if you also, in addition to this administrator, right, would be able to log into the customer's environment, right? So this administrator is for the customer, right? But go back to self-management. If you choose self-service, only this one will work. Or any other one that the customer, that this guy creates. Do you understand? So if you choose self-service mode, only this administrator will work. You will create the administrator. You know go fit enter. Do you understand? But if you choose managed by service provider, plus you, plus the administrator, and plus any other person that you, because you also will be able to create users for the customer. So for any other person that you create and give administrative right to, you'll be able to log into the tenant.
I don't want the client. I don't want the client, the customer, to see that I'm also managing from my own backend.
Okay, for managed by service provider, you don't want the client to see that.
Yeah, because most times client will say, will want to take you off. They will say they don't want you to know what's happening in their own environment. Whereas you are the one managing them. Maybe they might decide to say, okay, they don't want to use you again. Maybe they want to use another vendor. So
Okay,
is there any way the client or the customer will see that there's also a suit or an administrator managing them?
Okay, maybe I think first of all we have to understand what the term.
You said something. You said we can create another administrator. Now, I don't want that client or the customer to know that as a service provider, I'm also seeing that thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No, but by the way, that is the privacy issue. Let's start from that.
Sir,
that is illegal.
Sir, what I'm saying is this. Like, take for
It's
instance.
a privacy issue now.
Like, take for instance, YSP now. I buy data from one and I'm providing you service. You know, I have my own PTG that I used to monitor you. But you as a customer, you don't know that I'm actually getting my reseller from one. You only know me as a provider. So that's what I'm also saying. That on this managed by a service provider, you didn't know that I'm the one managing them. I'm also seeing what they are doing.
Right? At the end of the day, it depends on your conversation with your customer. Let me put it that way. If what is agreed with your customer is self-service, say, just sign me up. I don't want you interfering with my business. If you sign them up, instead of signing them up as self-service, you now go ahead and sign them up as service provider. But they won't know really, but you will be able to log in, right, to their tenant. But that would be a privacy issue. If you want to see what is done with regards to utilization, you can see that without logging into their environment. Yes, they won't know. You can get all that information. I'll show you later. You can get that. No, I think what I mean by that is utilization. So maybe because you want to be able to calculate their billing, you want to be able to say, okay, this is how many terabytes you've done, this is what you are doing. You can get all that information without actually going into their tenant. I'll show you that. But if what is agreed, at least I don't know what is agreed is self-service. Create it, you should not have login into it, right? Because these things are really very sensitive. This is where people can begin to tamper with what they're not supposed to tamper with. Right? So if what is agreed is self-service, it's preferable to just set it up as self-service. If you set it up as my service provider, if your customer carry you to court, I'm not there. Another way we also use to control all of that, right? I'll show you, don't worry. Is quota. So when the customer comes, when you approach a customer for the first time, the customer says, "Oh, I have 10 laptops, I have 5 physical servers, I have 2 virtual machines, right?" You can actually specify and say, this customer is only allowed to onboard 10 laptops, so that the customer does not go ahead, does not just go on a spree, just be adding. And usually, you know the funny part about this thing is that the people that will do the adding are the IT guys. The people that you will ask for money are not aware that something is being added. Do you understand? So by the time the IT guy, he don't say, this platform is great, he will add his father's own. No, it's the happen. And everybody, not knowing that all of that thing is adding, is counting. Then you don't go to billing at the end of the day, say, this is your, say, oh boy, alpha. This is not what we agreed. The problem with alpha. You know, so you can actually set that quota such that when exactly like the threshold, thank you, and set that threshold so that when they are exceeding it, you know, you get even there too, you get a notification. So before they can add, they would not be able to extend it. You are the one that can extend it. You get. So before any addition can be made, but there has to be an agreement again. Okay, give us 10 more spaces. So you can access all of that. And you know how we talked about we have 100 services that we offer, 100 modules. You don't have to sell it. This is it. So if you have a customer that says, "Oh, I want only backup," or "I just want to do security," very simple. Like I said, click of a button. All you have to do is enable all of them. Enable only that function. And even for your own also pricing purposes, yes, it's also good to also do that. So that the customer doesn't begin to back up when he's not supposed to back up. Right? You people do not discuss backup and all of that. So you can do all of this for me. Just enable disable. Click on the button, please. Disable all this security and so you can see security for PDR is a new feature. Right? You already see it somewhere else. Yeah, they don't enable this one on the console. Right? So the customer is only doing security and advanced security procedure. So that's what we do. Now the customer might not have. You as the service provider, remember that you are managing them. So it's as good as you are part of their organization. You as the service provider in your own office, you might have good internet. So you can copy it on behalf of the customer. And then, in fact, depending on where it's located, if as the partner said, you don't even really need to copy it. You don't need to take it out. All you need to do is install the agent on this thing. You go to your office, and then from your office internet, load it to the cloud. But physical data shipping in the real sense means that you copy to a hard drive. That hard drive is transported physically to the nearest data center location. And then they will carry the hard drive like this, plug it, and load it. So that's really what physical data shipping means.
In that process, ma'am.
Anybody, that is the customer or the partner, depending on your arrangement.
Okay.
No, not about me.
Okay, in that process, now if they want to do a recovery, what happens? Because now it's not pointing to any location, it's not pointing
No,
to
when it's done, that's why I said the reason why we don't do it yet in Nigeria is because we need data center guys here. So at the point of uploading it, right, the customer tenant is created. You understand? So all of that is done at the back end, such that we know that this data is for this customer. So all of that will be done. But because we don't yet have the resource here in Nigeria, that's why we don't do this. Because otherwise, we have a data center in Nigeria. It's just for us to not have that resource that is capable to manage that data center on our behalf. We are there. We are growing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so next. So this is where we talked about setting a threshold. As you can see, by default, all of it comes unlimited. So if you leave it like that, the customer will go and build enterprise network on the small $1,000 that you are bidding in. We do replication across data centers. As you know, I don't know if you noticed, we have about 56 data centers, yes, globally now, and we are hoping to go to about 100. So we actually do replication such that there is that higher availability, redundancy with regards to your data. It's not just all in one location. Anything can happen. We are in rack center here now. Tomorrow, ha! If Peter Obi will win now, Yoruba boys will start fighting. The one say rack center on fire. Your data is gone, but no, we actually provide that redundancy. All right. So this speaks to setting that threshold. Just click on it. So for every component, every application that is being backed up, every device, every physical machine, every virtual machine, you can actually set how many of them. You set the quota. Right? So once you set the quota for each of them, the customer will not be able to. If he tries to add any new device, he will get a notification you have exceeded your quota. Plus him, plus the service provider, both of you will get the notification that you have exceeded your quota. And then you can go back and say, okay, what do we do about this? Let's go ahead and extend it. So we always recommend, it might seem like a lot of work, but we always recommend, most especially in situations where the customer is signed up as self-service. Because once you set them up, you don't know what they are doing. So if you are managing them, you know that any day, anytime, you can log into and say, okay, what's happening. But once you set them up, and if you're now a customer that has a lot of customers, if it's maybe only that one customer, anything pops up, you might be able to check the notification and say, okay, from your own end. But if you have so many customers, how do you not begin to run after all of them? So just to make it easy and seamless for you, it's usually very able to just set this up while you're setting up the customer so that you know limit, right? And you cannot exceed that limit. Alright, so I think that's so once you're done with this, so if the customer, for example, sign up for only EGR or so you can actually say, okay, because we've seen situations where customers say, I have 10 devices.
The whole process has a trial version of it. We IT guys believe in reality. We wanted to test it.
Yes. Once you sign up, okay, there are two things. Are you already signed up as a partner? Or you're looking? You're about to?
Yeah, I'm about to. Maybe
you can give a trial now.
Yes, trial.
Yes. You can set up a trial for that one is not. If you don't use it, it's there. If you use it, it's there. So if we use it as a tool to get you to sign up. So yeah, we can get you signed up. No problem. Or let me even give you more context. The customer wants security and backup, right? But he does not want security on all his devices. He does not want backup on all his devices. You understand? Say out of 10, he only wants backup 3, right? You can actually do that individually. So you can take for the backup, look at it for backup. So if his workstation, if his servers wants backup, you can actually say, okay, you can only back up 3 servers. You can only set up security for 5 workstations. You understand? So it can be that granular. You can actually set it up so that once that 5 exceeds, even if he can add more to his workstation, he cannot enable security on any additional one. Do you understand? Sometimes we have to address it on a case by case basis. So you have to ask, okay, I have a customer in this industry. What kind of solutions can we solve for them? Or even I have a customer, in some cases, even an issue of I have a customer that already uses this solution. Typical example, if you have customers that already use Office 365, right? I know Valentine touched on it earlier. We do backup for all Office 365, what's it called? Applications. So we're talking SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, all of it, right? So if they use Office 365 within their organization, that's already a sell for you. You can go to them and say, hey, your OneDrive, your Outlook, how do you back it up? How are you guaranteed that if somebody resigns today, right? I don't know, we get a lot of that issue. Somebody resigns today, and the person has been having some certain conversation. And the minute the person resigns and that person's email is disabled, we cannot have access to that conversation. Everybody is lost. Where did this person stop with this? How can we trace the email? All of that, taking care of it. Right? All you have to do is just go to the backup. In fact, you can restore that person's email into another person's email address. So we run a subscription model. So as you're coming in as a partner for new partners, I know existing partners already have this information. So based on number one, the kind of business that you think you're managing, right?
we have different levels. So usually we start at $250. So what that means is that if you sign up as a $250 partner, right, that means that Taiwo, should I be explaining this or you explaining it yourself? Okay. Okay, so it means that you owe us $250 every month. Whether you sell, whether you don't sell, you owe us that money. So it's a commitment that you pay, right? Now, the truth of the matter is this: it's very, very profitable, right? I can tell you that one customer can bring you as much as $1,000 a month, depending on how you position the solution, right? So that's the our solution. And as you grow, so we have 250, we have 1,000, we have 4,000, I think we have 10,000, 7,000, 10,000, yeah. So as you grow in your subscription model, it also affects your price per workload, right? So somebody that is paying $250 and somebody that is paying $1,000, the pricing is different from them. Do you understand? Let me tell you what we are talking now. So, but like I said, on a case-by-case basis, those things are important to us, right? Because I know I've had customers that have had questions like that, queries like that. So it depends. If you have an educational institution that you're selling to, come to us. Hey, I'm selling to this company. This is how much they can do, or this is what their budget looks like. How can we work with that and respond to it? Okay, so what happens is everybody's clear backup, everybody's clear server that comes in. All you have to do, just apply this. So you don't need to start doing every configuration. You understand? Once you create it once, you know that okay, this is already set. You just apply. Just apply. So let me run you guys quickly through creating the protection plan. Okay, create plan. How many more minutes do we have so that I can schedule my time? I've run out of time. Okay, our data center is already listed there as cloud storage. So if you're going to do any pointing, it's any other location aside from our data center.
Like a mirror. Like I'm mirroring somewhere else.
That's replication we're talking about. Replication is another. This one is your initial backup. We're taking from the initial system and storing it somewhere. So the first location. Okay, so close that. No. Okay, schedule. Of course, you can schedule the when and how you want to click on it. When you want to back up. So if you want to do monthly, weekly, daily, hourly backups, you can actually set that schedule. You can also schedule scroll up. Backup scheme, please expand that, right? So if you say at every point on the backup, please always do a full backup, or I want you to always do incremental, right? You can it's actually as granular as that. But secondly, we don't offer the same kind of service. We are not competitors, right? The only thing that we share in common is storage. They offer storage, but I know that the service that they offer doesn't just sit on. What they offer is cloud, right? So what we offer, the best way to see it is we offer software as a service is the storage, and we only have that storage because we offer backup. We tie backup to it. If we're not doing backing up to Acronis cloud, it will just be software as a service. Because the storage part will be handled by every other person. It will not be our responsibility. Do you understand? So it's usually difficult to do that apple for apple what's the word? Comparison. Do you understand? In fact, I say this categorically. There is no organization in this world right now, maybe tomorrow we will develop it, that's the direct competitor of Acronis right now. What we only see is organizations that compete with us for individual modules. But when you look at Cyber Protect as a whole, because nobody offers that range of service in one solution, right? The way Acronis does. Do you understand? Sir? One solution in the box. You know, so it's difficult to say, oh, well, if people ask why a competitor, the next question I ask is, based on what solution? Okay, if it's backup, we have it. If it's security, we have insects, big defenders, so forth and the rest. You know, so email security, we have lines of checkpoint and the rest again. So in that, but as a whole, having that one unified solution, right, that can offer you all of the services in one, there's nobody that competes.
Okay. Before we start talking about where the money is, who can tell me? I think we said we have 7 models in Acronis. I need maybe 1 or 2 people to tell us maybe 2 models each. 2 models each. We've had some very wonderful sessions. Maybe 1 table, 1 person tell us maybe 1 model or maybe 1 feature. File sync and share, okay? Who said backup? Okay, backup, all right. That table. Security, okay? EDR.
Notary service.
Notary. The last table there. Cyber cloud is okay, that cyber cloud, cyber protect, okay? It's still everything all in one. All right, please a round of applause for everyone. All right, so before we go straight into the pricing, I want to tell us where you can get the price list. You know, for the existing partners, I'm sure they all know where the partner portal is. So on the partner portal is where you get all your resource, from pricing to battle cards to technical resource to training. Name it. Everything is there on the partner portal. So the URL is partners@acronis.com. For all partners, you definitely have an account. Once you sign in, you sign into the dashboard. One thing I want to say, of course, on the sales side of things is you cannot sell what you do not know. You really cannot sell what you don't have the confidence or at least to some extent, a very deep understanding of. On the partner portal here, you have trainings, in different tracks. So we have them on the technical track, we have them on the sales track. We expect or we encourage that all partners, you have minimum 2 personnel, either 2 sales, 2 technicals. Very, very important, So on the sales track, the trainings are very, very easy. Let me put it that way. A lot of the things you've learned here today, you need to go back. For those that have not done trainings, 1 person can do all the trainings, right? So once you do the fundamentals, you move to the security. At the end of the day, there's the advanced, what's this one called? The Cloud Sales Professional Certification here. For you to become a professional, you would have done everything from security to management to disaster recovery to notary, everything. So every salesperson here should aim to become a cloud sales professional. And of course, if you're a technical person, of course, on the technical track, there's the technical professional certification as well, which I encourage everybody to partake in. Away from the training, I'll go back to how, because the core of what I'm doing here today is about pricing. On the pricing, if you go to the sales section, you'll see pricing and licensing. Of course, I'm sure when you go onto your dashboard, you only see service provider, so you don't need to worry about the others. You will choose your region. We're currently in the EMEA region. Then you see different prices. So prices are usually released every quarter, right? So for this quarter, you have these 2 different documents, and the one for next quarter is those. So the pricing document gets changed pretty much every quarter. So we encourage you to always go into the portal every quarter to download the latest price list. So there are two documents. One is the price list, one is the calculator. So I want us to, we'll be using the calculator because you need to configure and do a lot of things with the calculator. So I have one here, which we would use. But I'll need your help for us to, so I need somebody to just tell me a typical environment or a typical customer. Or I have a customer who has this, and this. Let's give him a price. Because most times, so let me tell you, from my engagement with partners, a lot of them, we've done training of this calculator, but they still come back and they'll be like, oh, I have this new customer, I don't know what to do. Right? So it's very, very straightforward, and that's why I want us to bring the scenarios of what we see, or typical places we try to sell into. Then we try to simulate it. Okay, let's go with this. Now on the pricing calculator, of course we call backup provider. Of course we do backup management and security features included with a lot of other features. So the first thing you want to talk about or you want to do when you go to the price list is to choose where your data is going to be stored, right? So, like Irene said, we have different data centers. So at the moment we have 44 on the price list. And we're grouped into 3 different groups. You have G1, G2, and G3. We will recommend that you store your data in the G3 data center. Right? G3, we have Nigeria in that group. Of course, you can choose any other one, but G3 is preferred. It's the location. So it's the location actually. So you have G1, you can see where they are. G2, we have South Africa, Iceland, and Serbia. So G3, we have those 3. You're not limited to Acronis data center. I'm sure you know. You can store to third-party service provider data center, Azure, and the likes. But this is, if you're storing to Acronis, you need to choose any of these. So let's say we're going to with G3. So then you go to your calculator. The first thing you do is to choose G3 or G1 or G2 as the case may be. The second thing you do is to check your minimum commitment. Most of us, I'm sure, will be on $250 minimum commitment. And I'm sure we know what minimum commitment is. We all know, right? Okay. So once you do those 2, the next thing is to set your workloads. Now, for Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud, there are 2 different workloads. Sorry, 2 different pricing models or licensing models. The first is per workload, and the second is per gigabyte. Now, if you look at it, before you talk about the advanced parts, you price for the core pack. I hope I'm not going to confuse you. You're going to do the core pack first before you move to advanced pack, right? Now, on the core pack, you have either to price per workload or per gigabyte. When you're pricing per workload, you have to fix, you get to pay for each workload, right? But on the gigabyte model, you only pay for the storage. So the last thing I want to ask, part of what we're doing is, what is the size of your storage? So let's assume this is 500 gig. Okay, so now I'm going to put it here. So 2 physical servers, 2 virtual machines. We said we have, let's assume they have Microsoft Office, you said 20 mailboxes. Mobile devices, total of 20. This is 500. So this is what you get to pay. Okay, so this is what your pricing would look like for this very customer we're talking about. And this storage goes to the Acronis data center, our workload model, right? So the thing is, because you need to compare and choose the one that is, cost effective for your customer. So you come down here, you see the total cost is $209 per month, $209 per month. for all of this using the per workload model. So the next thing you do is to compare with the gigabyte model. For gigabyte model, you put 500 here, and it shows $64. So the question is, you have the option of either going with this or paying $64. So either $209, option 1, or option 2 says $64. Reason is, on the gigabyte model, you have unlimited workloads. So you can have as much as 500 workloads, right? You're only going to pay for storage. But on this other option here, you're paying per workload, right? So there are times that per workload will help is better, right? For per workload, maybe you have fewer workloads and you have more storage. So the thing is, we usually compare workload and gigabyte model before we eventually decide which is best for the customer. So you don't just decide, oh, let me go for workload or let me go for the gigabyte model. I hope it's clear. If a customer, for example, needs URL filtering, or maybe is subscribing to advanced email security, you need to add the advanced pack. If a customer needs DLP, you add it on the advanced pack side of things. If a customer needs EDR, you add it. If I look at the features of the advanced pack and the customer does not need it, there's no point putting anything on the advanced backup, right? That's for advanced backup. If it needs maybe a feature that is on the advanced management side of things, I'll add it. So let's say for the workloads, let's say we have 20 workloads here, so I put 20 here. And you see it's just $1.50 per workload on the advanced management side of things. So if it needs advanced security plus EDR for the same number of workloads, I need to add. So for my workloads, I have 20 plus, so let's calculate. So I have 2 servers, 30 systems, switches, 20 mobile, and 20 mailboxes. So I have, this is 32 plus 20. So I put 32 here. So I have some other examples. Sorry, I needed to use that first. But these are some examples that we can use. So a customer, I will just do the number one, the first one. It says the customer wants to back up 30 workstations, 4 servers, 50 VMs, backup storage, 800 gig with replication to SP Cloud, patch management for 30 workstations, file sync and share for 30 users, storage in SP Cloud, 300 GB. So this is how you define, like I said, at the beginning you define what the customer requirement is, right? Once you're defining the customer requirement, you break it down, workstations, servers, VM, where is your storage going to be? Here you say we need 800 GB local storage with replication to SP Cloud storage. Patch management. Patch management is an advanced management feature, right? So it's going to be an advanced pack. File sync and share 30 users, etc. So it says we're backing up 30 workstations, 4 servers, 50 VM. So let's see, this is physical servers, 4, virtual machines, 50, 30 workstations, right? And it says backup customer local storage, 800 GB. Okay, on the workload model, backup to customer storage is free, and replication to SP Cloud. Let me see what's this. So patch management for 30 workstations. Because I know, okay, no, let's decide which model to go for. The first one here, we see the total cost is what? 574. Option 1. Of course, we said we're going to check per workload or per gigabyte, which is best, which is cheaper, right? So on the per workload model, we're seeing a total of how much? $574, right? So we go back and check, okay, so what if we're doing gigabytes, which says service provider storage, 800. we're going to pay $54, which is cheaper, right? So which would you rather go for? Would you go for this one, which is $574 or $54? 54. So you would not go for the one on top, because on the per gigabyte model, you get unlimited workload. So even if you have, so all of these are just workloads, right? And then you're paying for this is for service provider data center. But for here, you're only paying for the storage, right? The number of workload is unlimited. So you solve the first part. The second part of it says patch management. So it's a patch management for 30 systems, 30 workstations. So you go to patch management is advanced management. Yeah, you put 30. And then the final part says file sync and share, 30 users, 300 GB. So you go to file sync and share. So total amount you get to pay, or your customer gets to pay, is $168 monthly. Any question? This Igloo here, this standard product you see here, is what we have here. You know, this is called Acronis Africa Cloud, right? Which is this standard product. Now, on the price list, it is these two. You see here, you see Acronis Africa Cloud here. To this point. So we have workload or gigabyte. So you choose which one. So if you go with this, you get all the features on the cyber cloud. If you choose this, you get all the features. Do you understand? So if you're going with the storage, you're going to get everything in that Igloo. So now on the core pack, on this core pack, right, you have security. Now, what we tell service provider, you have backup pay as you go. You have every other thing included. That's why they say it's free. Technically free. Now, on the security, which is the base security, you get anti-ransomware protection. You get anti-malware protection, vulnerability assessment, cyber physical, free. Yes. So you get all of this free. But if your customer now needs email security, which is an advanced feature, advanced pack, then they now get to pay for advanced security, advanced email security. So look at this. Let's say workstation. So I'm a bit fair. 10 workstations. Okay, let's look at this scenario. This is a customer that has 5 terabytes of data, right, to back up and have protection and all that for. If I'm going on this storage Acronis data center, I'm going to spend $240 per month, $640 per month. But if I choose to go the workload model, I'm only going to spend $395. You understand? So it's each customer with their own peculiar scenario. You understand? There's no, you can't say, oh, workload is better or this is better, right?
When you want to do the pricing, you know, when you are the client side, normally I think there's a questionnaire you give to them to understand the environment, which is already tailored to this. So you might ask them, how many physical servers do you have? How many workstations do you have? How many virtual servers do you have? So they'll give you all those details. And by the time you calculate all those information, okay, you have 10 servers, you have 100 workstations, and you put it in the calculator, it shows you the amounts like they are showing you there. But then they can also tell you, you know what, don't even bother about the number of devices we have. Total workload is 10 terabytes for the whole environment. Just give me a bill on 10 terabytes. It doesn't matter how many workstations I have, because sometimes you might have 100 workstations and they may do more than 10 terabytes, or you may have up to 100 workstations and they might not even do up to 5 terabytes. So it's now up to you as the MSP to decide which one is cheaper for me. How do I build it? If you feel like the workload is higher, you can bill them on the workload. If the per gigabyte is higher, you can bill them per gigabyte. So it's up to you. They don't know. You are the one that knows. You are the one that gives them the bill. You've gotten all the information, but you decide whether you want to be billing them per workload or per gigabyte.
Okay, so that's like a business side to it. So it's your choice, right? To build them whether per gigabyte or per workload.
Can you edit the calculations on the Excel and give it to the client?
Edit
Can you edit the formulas and give it to the client?
No, you can't.
So what you do is, once you get this formula, you input it into your own invoice,
yes, with your markup.
With your markup. So peradventure you have like 250, maybe, Penny, if you can go back to that per workload, yeah. So you need 2 physical servers, you have 250. You can decide to say, on this 250, I'm going to do like a 10% markup. And you give them the markup by yourself. On your own markup. That is so the markup is your own game. You can do to any extent you want. But what you are paying now to Acronis is what you see here.
That's what I want to show us. On the partner portal, on the sales side, there are promotions that partners like yourself can take advantage of. One thing we'll tell people, of course, people in my team, is you need to understand your customer environment. It's not just enough to know all the features of Acronis, right? You need to be creative enough to know how do I bundle Acronis with either my existing solution. So I have a customer that has Google Workspace, for example. I should be able to know how can I bundle Acronis in a way that is going to integrate with Google Workspace, and then I get revenue from it. So there are different promotions that you can benefit from, right? We have the advanced party promo where you go into customers' environment, and here it says they can use some of those for 6 months. These are more like methodologies you use to break into some environments. Some places will not consider your advanced pack, but if you tell them, hey, you can use it free for 6 months, it becomes interesting. They want to hear more, right? So these are some promotions. Please always keep checking the promotions tab on the partner portal. There are a lot of information in there. Away from advanced pack promotions, you have Google Workspace promotion, we have competitive display promotion here, displacement promotion here. For environments where we have competing products, for example, Veeam, Veritas, and the likes, and you feel that we can displace them, you download the terms and conditions. There are very competitive pricing that you get. They could even use the solution for free. But of course, you need to know your environment, the customer's environment very well. And then disaster recovery promotion as well. I think there's free usage and the likes that you can benefit from and will help you to sell, right? Because one thing you need to understand is sales is away from relationship. There are tactics. Sometimes you need to put urgency. You need to understand, who you're talking to. There's a scenario somebody painted yesterday, 2 days ago at the partner event, and she was like, "Oh, how do I sell fine sync and share?" There's something you need to think about because all of these features, I tell you, every organization needs it. Every organization needs backup, right? Every organization needs a form of disaster recovery. They need email security. You look at phishing emails, spam mails that just bombard people that use cPanel. They all need it, but the truth is most of them think they don't need it, right? So you develop a website for someone. How do I sell what I have to them? I will not come and say, come and buy backup. I have to bundle it with what? With my existing solution, my existing service, then that's the way to go, right? So, to sell file sync and share, who are you talking to? Sorry, I'm going a bit into sales, right? The question is, who is your stakeholder? Who are you talking to? Who are you discussing with? So I meet the engineer, hey, come and buy file sync and share. You ask you, what objection would you get? It's a no. They were like, we don't need it. We use Dropbox. We use OneDrive. You hear similar things like that, right? So the thing is, there are different ways to engage customers for you to be able to sell, right? One is away from relationship who you're talking to. When you're talking to somebody at that level, most likely you might not get the right answers, right? They'll tell you, we have something that works. But when you move up higher level, maybe you speak with somebody at the manager, they'll say, hey, you know, your guys are storing files in an unsecure way, and of course, you don't even have control over it. You put the advantages that FileSync and Share gives you in terms of security, management, and a whole lot of other things. Then it becomes a conversation that that they want to engage in. So I want to encourage us, partners. Acronis has one of the best solutions for your business. When they talk about the MSP model, where you own the business and then you're able to scale it across multiple customers. But number one, you cannot sell what you don't have a deep understanding of. The trainings are there, the sales make the very best of it. Away from sales enablement, like I said, this promotional campaigns, promotions, competitive displacement promotions, free usage up to 6 months for the advanced packs. They are all there. If you don't tell them, they won't. Some people, if you don't even give them trial, they won't consider it, right? So, but one thing we look out for, especially my team, we're looking out for places where they have something and we want to displace them. So we need to go in with a mindset of displacing solutions that are not good enough, right? Going to places where they have, we have integrations, from anywhere you have Microsoft 365, which is where almost all enterprise organizations, they have. For everywhere there's Microsoft 365, there's integration for Acronis. We're not going to displace Microsoft, but we're going to deeply integrate with them. Microsoft gets to build them monthly. You also add your Acronis. You will need to be creative in a way that you build your customer, but this is MSP model. It's not, I just drop the box and I go. MSPs, you need to think. Microsoft they charge you monthly, per user, per month. Acronis is also here. We charge you per what? Per system or per what? Per month. So you need to think, how can I bundle this solution? Oh, I develop website. Oh, I'm a website hosting company. This. Think about how Acronis can help you integrate with your business in a way that you can have a typical MSP model, right? So just going out saying, come and buy backup alone might not work, right? But you need to, like I said, be creative enough to develop different packs, right? That you can now present to customers that they will be able to adopt.
Let's assume the total of the workstation they have in that office. To estimate, I was okay, it's 5 TV, right? Yeah. Now it's 5 TV. I noticed that you are still having other functions there, so it's there. So it means if I had more kids, my price will increase. Then if I do same thing here, this one will increase more, right? Yes. Now I want a situation where I can balance the equation in the sense that they are looking at their budgets. So what can I do to win the
Okay.
So I now said, okay, I give them this.
Yeah.
If I don't decide to add anything,
Yeah.
can this one fly and all the solutions can be added to it?
So like I said, you need to understand that this is where everything starts from. This is the standard product, right? If what your customer wants falls within the standard product, backup, included features. Included means it's like Java extra. If your customer wants it, they take it. If they don't want it, it's there. But it's available to you for free. For example, cyber physical. Some MSPs will decide to sell it, put a premium on it. Vulnerability assessment. Some MSP can decide to sell it, put a price to it. It's their choice. But from Acronis, we've told you, whatever you get here is covered, whether on workload or on gigabytes. It's covered. So if a customer now says, oh, I want patch management, then you cannot deliver patch management on the on the standard feature. You need to come down. Whether you've chosen either of those two, you need to add it on the advanced feature side.
So you now become another additional.
Yes, it is always addition. You can see all these arrays. They are supposed to be plus actually. You know, you add it plus. If you say, so I want advanced email, you add it. If you want disaster recovery, add. Advanced backup, add. So for example, some customers want to back up SQL. You cannot do SQL with this basic pack. Even if, so for example, let's say a customer wants to back up SQL, for example. Even if you put 500 here, right, you need to do, because SQL is advanced. They won't get it here or here. So you need to come down to advanced to add it. Yes, yes. So long as it's an advanced feature, you must add it. It's a must. Okay. So it's quite easy. So, but the basic thing you guys are maybe starting off is to be able to push the standard products, right? Because it gives you a lot of things for free, right? Backup and included features. But so backing up for a customer, you have a lot of things to add. You know, and the moment the customer is, you know, has your data with them, you can start talking about upselling. These are like upselling items to upsell. Like, hey, you know, I can do your email for you. You know, advanced email security. And, oh, we can't talk about that now. Talk about email, DLP, EDR, management. Those are things you can upsell to your customers. But start from here, right? Which is actually very cheap compared to a lot of what our competitors do. You know, and then for most environments where you have competition, it's easy for you to maneuver your way because we're about the only company that has backup plus security and management features included. So you could even deliver it for free. And you'd be like, hey, I have this, and this available for free. The others will not be able to compete. So that's one of the strengths of Acronis as your preferred partner.
So for example, I have two physical servers that I want advanced backup. Yeah. Do I first put them inside the workload and then add them in here?
Yes.
So maybe I will have 5 there and then have 2 here.
Yeah, you can.
Can I just go, can I have only in the advanced?
No, because you need the core part.
The core.
Yes. You need the core. It's like, the core is
okay.
Like the.
No, I get it.
Yeah, and others are like add-ons.
Okay. Then can you please scroll down?
Okay.
Or is this the end? I saw yes, Cyber Files Cloud.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So hosted storage. Can you please help me understand that a little bit?
Two pricing models. We have the gigabytes and user. Right. On the gigabyte, just the way we have on workloads, that's why there's a bit of differentiation here. When you're storing per gigabyte, you have unlimited users. So it's just like you pay for the storage, then it could be 500 users or more, right? Now, but when you use it per user, you only pay for number of users. So the difference is here we have 0.6 for the storage. Here it's going to be a lot cheaper.
I'm not so much concerned about the model itself.
Okay.
As the services. So you have Acronis hosted service, and then you have service provider hosted service, hosted storage.
Okay.
So what is this hosted storage itself?
Okay. Now Acronis hosted storage means the files. This one.
No. The gigabit. Yes, those are the
hosted storage. Okay. When they store, this is like the model. Acronis hosted storage means the file is stored in Acronis data center, which we have about 50 of them right now. If it's stored in service provider data center, it means it's stored in non-Acronis data center. So which should be Azure, AWS, Alibaba, etc.
And it will be protected there.
Yeah, absolutely. We already have those integrations with them. We only provide a gateway to link up your files with them. So it's your choice to say, okay, well, I want to store either on Acronis Cloud or service provider cloud, but the price will be different. The moment you choose to say, okay, I pay for the storage, then depending on the people that have access, of course I can have access and share with 200 people. They will all have access to view, maybe read only or download. All of those do not really matter.
Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the whole gist, but before we go, the real reason why we are here is to make sure that you all understand what Acronis is all about, and you all understand what you tend to gain and how you're going to sell Acronis. So we're using this opportunity to give, it's like a promo, let me put it that way. For the first, should I say, okay, don't let me limit it. The first set of MSPs who sign up before the 31st of March is going to get a already qualified sale lead. We should be proactive, and we should have a positive, overview of there's so much to sell, When you go into an organization, just find one need, just one need. Their need might just be maybe like, antivirus. They want to buy antivirus, and you're like, why would you go and buy antivirus when I can give you Acronis? And they were like, Acronis. Acronis is a backup solution. You say, isn't it better for you to buy a backup solution as well as an endpoint protection solution? So you're looking at those opportunities and selling them as a combo. Some people already have existing clientele already, and you know the strength of your existing clients. Why don't we leverage on what they currently have? Majority of us here are like Microsoft resellers. You can sell them Microsoft 365 backup security, backup email security. It's easy peasy sell, easy peasy. As you're selling Microsoft 360 backup to them, you are also selling endpoint protection. Maybe if before they used to use Norton, or they used Kaspersky, or any other of these antivirus or anti-malware. Easily, you can even bring down. So this particular antivirus or anti-malware is actually available free. You are not paying for it. You are only paying for the storage, but you can offer it at a particular value lower than what you will ever get in the market. They will be wondering, how did you do that? But you know how you did it. You know you got it free. You can resell it at half the price of this. Ask them, how much are you buying Norton antivirus? Maybe they are buying it maybe for like $2 per user or something like that. So you know what? I can give you $1 or $1.5. They'll be wondering, how do you do it? But it's available. All you do is just go to your own portal and put on the protection, endpoint protection, and it all goes onto their own system. And that's it. As a distributor, we understand there might be challenges with dollar payments and all that. So normally, we normally give you two options, either to pay in dollars or to pay in naira. And when you're paying in naira, it's going to be the equivalent on the day they're making the payment. And sometimes they might come to an agreement and a cap to say, you know what, this is what we're going to use for this month or for this period, so that it will be clear to everyone that, okay, this is the value we're using. So it's normal business that we do. We have a lot of clients who pay us in dollars. Yeah, it's black market. You cannot get official rate anywhere, so it's black market that we use. So you yourself, when you're charging your end customer, you're probably charging them in dollars at the official rate as the black market rate. And you're probably charging them. So most times, most end users prefer like an annual payment. You understand? It makes it easier for them. They're not like every month they're trying to make payment and all that. They just say, you know what, for 1 year. So you're going to do your calculation. For 1 year, maybe you're generating $200. Let's say $300 monthly from this client. At the end of the day, you're going to be paying like $6,000 or thereabout for the whole year. You can convert that for the customer. And peradventure, if they use above,
you can give them an addendum, a new bill to say, this is what you have paid, but this is the excess that still remains. So you can do your billing in that mode. I hope I've answered your question, sir. Excellent. Any other question on pricing? Something you don't really understand? So, who is signing up today? Who is signing up for a free leave today? Pre-qualified leave that makes you hit the ground running. Can I see a wave of the hand? Yay! His name's already signed up. Velvet. Yeah. I know Velvet doesn't really need this needle. I know you guys do need, because when I enter your clientele, I know that we have more than enough ready clients to sign up with you guys. So, but I'm certain Velvet is going to sign up this week. So you're going to get a free league. You are the first on the list because it's signed today. You are the first on the list for that, and then we're going to be following up on that opportunity you have. So that's opportunities for you. Excellent. Please let's give